In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, Tony Dunn, a.k.a. The Professor, and it's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. I'm here with my wheelman, Cody Lashney. We've got a lot to talk about, including your favorite quarterback, Baker, bake me a cake, Mr. Baker Mayfield, man.
Tony Dunn, they said that there's a fine line between love and hate. And let me tell you, the Carolina Panthers, they do a really good job of making us all find out where that line is, man. Let me tell you, so much to talk about. More rumors about Baker Mayfield abound. Carlos Dunlap was brought into the building. Yet again, Robbie Anderson is up to his old diva tactics, threatening retirement. Tony, there's always something to talk about on a Tuesday night without fail. And what's even more without fail is the badass Panther fans that we get to hang out with every Tuesday on YouTube. You know them and love them. It's our man Drew, AJ Lindsay, Carolina M, Dan Floyd, Joey the Blind Panther Esquivel, Lynn Leon Hart. What's up, Lynn? Matt Knows Nothing, Poppin' Bullets First, The Rat King, NFL Kid, Thomas Tomlinson, Tim Estes, 10 Tizzy, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
You know it. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. You can jump into the conversation. The longest running Panthers podcast. We got CK in the house. How you doing?
Oh, what do we know I'm doing? Living the dream, enjoying 32, at least attempting to. Just happy to be here with you boys to discuss the Panthers. One more night of the week, one more week closer to Panthers football. And honestly, I'm getting a little antsy. I'm ready for training camp to start. I know we got the mini camp to talk about, but I'm ready for training camp. I'm ready for this thing to kick off so we can know who we really got on this team and whether Matt Rule can have a nice redemption story this year.
Greg's in the house. Are you a Jurassic Park guy?
I do enjoy the movies. I'm not crazy about it. I haven't seen the new one yet, but I want to see it. It's just not priority for me.
Has not gotten good reviews, but it's made a shit ton of money.
Hasn't gotten good reviews from critics, but what's the word I'm looking for? Consumers, us, fans. Yes. Great reviews from what I've heard so far.
Wow. Okay.
So,
all right.
That's typical for a movie. Dude, I thought that after the draft we were going to be done with quarterback talk, man. Or at least adding like a trading for one of these big name quarterbacks. I thought that drafting Matt Corral was
the end. Yeah.
I mean, maybe picking up somebody in free agency or something like that. I can understand somebody, maybe another body in there for competition, whatever. But the big trade for the big name, I thought we were done with that. I'm so ready to be done with that.
Well, unfortunately, you're not. Another day goes by, and there is another lawsuit against Deshaun Watson and another rumor about the Carolina Panthers continuing to pursue Baker Mayfield. And this all started with Jonathan Jones tweeting, I think this was today, maybe. Was he?
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, the 14th. Here it is, right on the screen.
14th.
There's urgent here. There's two tweets right in a row that he fires off that started the fury of conversation among Panther fans and the media. There's an urgency, he writes, on Carolina's side to execute the deal so soon so Mayfield can get some time in minicamp with the Panthers. For the Browns, it's the best offer they have. Talks going on. He continues to write on Twitter, as minicamps begin today for the Browns and Panthers. Trade talks between the teams continue surrounding quarterback Baker Mayfield per sources. The main issue remains Mayfield's salary and how much or how little teams pay. So, Cody, another day, another Deshaun Watson lawsuit, and another link. More smoke, more rumors, more fire to your favorite man, Baker Mayfield. Bake me a cake.
Tony, CK, Greg, C3 Panther faithful, isn't it not true that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, hoping for different results? Is that not the very definition of insanity? Because let me tell you what, I feel like the Carolina Panthers have gone full-blown fucking insane, dude. Look, I know everyone wants to sell themselves on this bill of goods that Baker Mayfield is such an upgrade at the quarterback position. And I'm just here to tell you, man, that people underestimate how good not only that Browns offensive line was, but the weapons that they had. Their coach is amongst one of the highly touted coaches in the NFL. Listen, this will be the third consecutive year in a row under Matt Rule's tenure that the Carolina Panthers are giving up money and assets to go and get the sloppy seconds of every other football team that doesn't want their has-been quarterback. It's absolutely bullshit, man. And for everyone pretending like the results are going to somehow be different, what does that do other than muddy the waters? We have Sam Darnold trying to rejuvenate his career, and I understand no one gives a fuck about that. No one cares about Sam Darnold. But now, if you bring in Baker Mayfield, does anyone think that Baker Mayfield wants to come in to be a stopgap for the Carolina Panthers until Matt Corral is ready to be the quarterback? Everyone is out of their fucking minds, dude. It makes no sense. And this is the type of mediocrity bullshit that the Panthers continue to bog themselves down in year after year after year. Yeah. And it's bullshit, man. And one more thing, I don't buy for one fucking second that Matt Rule has nothing to do with wanting Baker Mayfield. This is him. This is his MO. That's what he does. He goes to get other quarterbacks that he feels he can reinvent and then fails to do so. And then we expect that somehow that's about to be different with Baker Mayfield? Bro, come on, man. Matt Rule is attempting to save his job, and we're going to bring in another quarterback for a lame duck head coach? I'm sorry, man. It's bullshit, and I'm not happy about it at all, and I'm not going to pretend to be.
Yeah. To be fair, had this happened last year, if we had the option of Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold last year, I'm taking Baker Mayfield all day, every day. But we're past that point. It's too late for that now. Like, we just can't do it. So I think you're right, Cody. It's insane to dive back into that and do the exact same thing. And somebody in the chat said starting Corral is dumb too because he won't be ready till the middle of the season. I'm so tired of hearing that. These guys have played their whole lives. This is what they prepared for their whole lives. They were drafted to do this. It's what they're getting paid for. If it's what you're supposed to do, go in there and do it. You should be ready right then. I get it might be nice to have time to get the speed of the game, but you're getting paid and you prepared your whole life for this moment. Go do it. Like, I don't like they're not going to be ready yet. Well, they're going to learn to get ready. Like, that's all there is to it. And no other job does it work that way.
Why was it different for Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson, who were also late round picks, who were thrusted into the limelight and had to be able to start, and then they had to
because Russell Wilson played a lot of college football too.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't. Matt Corral's played 2 years.
Yeah, he's played 2 years. It's not like he.
Russell Wilson played like almost 5. I felt like. I mean, he had some. I mean, he played baseball and football. Yeah. He played 2 years, at least 2 years at State, and then 2 years at, I guess it was Washington State or something like that. He killed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he was far more ahead of Matt Corral as a prospect then. I think, however, at that time, people were a lot more hesitant to pick quarterbacks that were short. I mean, it was in fashion at that time to pick really tall quarterbacks. It was like the John Elway stamp on the NFL. I mean, even Cam Newton was, the big big guy that comes out. Then you had people. Remember those guys? There was like the Broncos drafted like 3 of them. One of them was like 6'7" or something.
Osweiler or something like that. Wasn't he
Yeah,
the big
well, there was
guy?
Osweiler, yeah, and then
Yeah.
there was one other one too. So I don't know if Russell Wilson's the best comparison, Cody, but I think when you go to your point of like repeat, there's one thing is like, you got to have kind of multiple conversations on this. First, is it Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield? And if that's just the comparison, then you can make a decision, not make a decision on that, but people are talking that. So one conversation floating around is, who would you rather have, Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold?
Right.
So can we answer that around the horn just without any other implications? Would you rather, Cody, just on, if we were picking teams today, have Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold?
Yeah, if we didn't have Corral and I'm just picking between the
Yeah.
two, then I'm picking by a narrow. I don't even want it to come out of my mouth, dude. How about that? I don't want anything to do with Baker Mayfield on this team, man. Listen,
CK, who you picking?
He's better than Sam, but
Just straight up, because we're gonna have another. We're gonna add another layer to this. Don't worry.
Baker
CK,
Mayfield.
All right, Greg.
I'm taking Baker, man. He has flashes that Sam's never had.
I need to know if his shoulder is good right now. Right. So that would be one
Very
question
important.
I have. But I would say, you know what? Yes, is Baker Mayfield's got the moxie that Sam Darnold doesn't have. The confidence in himself, whether you have it or not. All right. So next question though is when you repeat the insanity is like, will this be an acquisition that doesn't cost us anything? Because the real problem with the Sam Darnold thing isn't Sam Darnold only. It was that we gave up the picks. Is that we didn't get Sam Darnold for a 7th.
Right.
So if Baker Mayfield comes at any cost, right, at all, whether it's like, what's the pick that's just automatically too expensive to negate the Baker Mayfield over
anything higher than a 5th round pick?
Dude, you took the words right out of my mouth. Anything higher than a 5th round pick, even that is like, I don't want to give up that. And apparently that's the point of contention, is that the Browns, they don't want to come down to the asking price that the Carolina Panthers are wanting them to come down to.
Well, the word is, like, if you read the article, the Panthers have the best offer out there. The biggest problem is the salary, and that is it.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I don't mind the picks at all. It's the salary. If we could get it for free and give like a 6th and a 7th.
Well, in theory, it's a salary swap. In theory, it's a salary.
I would be okay with it.
That's assuming that it's a Sam Darnold swap. That's assuming that
take Sam Darnold.
That's assuming that they want him.
Right.
Like, that's a part of it.
But I would take that. I would take a straight,
which they might, given the fact that Deshaun Watson could be suspended. Now, the last question here, this third layer question is that is the salary part right there. Because what the problem with Darnold is that, again, we overpaid. He wasn't that great. And then we also gave up picks. So would Baker Mayfield, if they took Sam Darnold from us, be cheaper? So, I mean, like, these are the last things. Like, those are the only things you can. You got to put them all together, right, to kind of figure out if it's worth it at all.
It wouldn't be cheaper.
Unless the question is, like, you're winning almost on all of those, then I don't even know if you should do it.
The Browns are not going to give Baker like a clean swap with Sam Darnold. It's not going to happen.
Right.
That part we know. Right. Like, they understand that
they got to save some money. That's what they got to do. They've spent $1 bazillion.
Right. That's a good portion of what we're talking about here. Like, they're willing to pick up part of his salary, but they're wanting to make some savings. So that's number one. We're going to eat part of his contract. The question is that what that tells me is that there is zero chance that they have of taking Sam Darnold on. Right. And so what that tells me is not only would we be eating salary, we would also be taking, giving away a draft pick of some sort, probably a later round draft pick. Let's be real about it. The Browns have no leverage here. And then on top of that, then we have to figure out what to do with Sam Darnold. And are we going to have two of the quarterbacks on the same team that were first round picks in the same back to
No,
back.
you can't have Baker and Sam on the same.
Exactly.
Like, I mean,
And
that
Matt
just
Corral.
makes it so
But
ridiculous.
I don't think that Matt Rule wants to get rid of Sam Darnold.
I don't either.
I think they have spent so much time on Sam trying to invest in him and turn him around and give him every opportunity to be a franchise quarterback that I really don't think they want to offload him, especially if everyone's out here believing hook, line, and sinker that Matt Rule is prepared to go forward with Sam Darnold and Matt Corral.
One final question, the last layer to this, because I'm trying to build all these questions also on the kind of the context of what Cody is saying, that are we just repeating the same insanity?
Exactly.
So the final question is, and why did it just slip from my mind? Part of the problems or the challenges for both Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Darnold, and really the leverage part that we have lacked, which we seem to lack right now with the Browns, right? It almost seems like they have more leverage than we do because we want more than they have to give up. Would we be bringing in a quarterback on a short kind of quick, look, Teddy they didn't have OTAs or they didn't have any of that because of COVID. Sam Darnold was brought in kind of late in the process in some ways. So a lot of people have said, all he got was, is like, did he fully get enough time to work with everybody? Are you going to then just repeat the same shortened timeline that you could have avoided 2 months ago?
I think so. And I also, again, I know I'm the most outspoken on this. I just can't stand it, dude. Like, it's times like this that really try your fandom. And, dude, I'm not going nowhere, okay? No one's questioning my fandom. But the thing about it is that look how much money we have paid combined to Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Darnold. And then now we're going to bring in Baker Mayfield. And I want to drive this point home, too. It's like, if the Panthers are going to go and get Baker Mayfield, to me, that's more of a long-term commitment than everybody's wanting to make it out to be. Everyone's wanting to do this pie in the sky. Oh, well, we'll give Baker 8 games, and then if he isn't good, let Matt Corral step up. It's like, no. If we're going to be a middle-of-the-pack football team, let's say the Panthers go 9-8, narrowly miss the playoffs. Okay, then we're a middle-of-the-pack football team with another basic pitch quarterback, and we didn't get Matt. Theoretically, under that scenario, we wouldn't have gotten Matt Corral any playing time to know what we even have in the rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's like, that's important, man. That's that whole conversation that we were having last year with Brady Christensen. Now we're still wondering about where his best position on the offensive line is because we don't truly know because he wasn't given the opportunity. And another thing about Baker himself, if you go and watch people who do film breakdowns of Baker Mayfield, this man from a clean pocket is constantly drifting to the left. He's drifting to the right, but he never, ever trusts his arm talent enough to be able to stand there, zip it and rip it, dude. He has terrible footwork. He does this double pump thing where he'll go to throw the football, but he won't throw it. And then he'll throw it again after that, dude. It's like he has terrible mechanics, and he has not proven himself.
Well, I feel like Sam Darnold has that same double pump.
Sam's just stupid.
Sam is stupid.
Throw right into double coverage. And just...
I have a question about this. So just hypothetically, if we get Sam Darnold, does this 100% mean that Matt Corral is not going to start? Because there's no way you pay 2 quarterbacks.
No, if we get Baker, you mean?
Baker Mayfield. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah, Baker Mayfield. Like, there's no way you pay Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold and play Matt Corral, right? Like, there's absolutely no way that happens. So, worst case scenario just crossed my mind. What if they traded Matt Corral for?
You can't do that.
You can do that. What would stop you?
Nobody would ever give you.
It would be stupid, but we're talking about the Panthers.
Pay for him in the draft. They would automatically give you.
Oh, dude, if that happened, let's go Chargers, bro.
There would be a riot.
Why I said worst case scenario.
Well, you could not. I think what Greg also is just highlighting here is that if you do bring in Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, you cannot have all three of them on the team.
No.
Like that would just look like such a retarded.
And PJ Walker.
Word. It was so ridiculous. Well, you wouldn't have PJ. You would go ahead and cut him, and nobody would care. But what I'm saying is this: is you could not. You know how the Panthers putting up all those fun team tweets, stuff like this is like imagine the tweet they have with the quarterback room. It's like, where they have all three of them standing beside each other like this. That would be so. You could not do that. That would be so ridiculous. It would just be like clown. They could put them in a clown car.
How hysterical would it be if they had they brought Baker, they had Sam, they have Matt Corral, but they start PJ Walker.
Oh, I know.
They bring in
here's the problem with here's one more issue what if Baker Mayfield kind of worked? That would make it even worse. You know what I'm saying? Is like this is like if Sam Darnold goes and wins 9 games this year, I don't think the Panthers are re-signing them to be their quarterback the following year.
Well, it depends well. It depends
if Baker came in and won 9 games, I think you're sitting there going, do we need to give Baker a deal?
I agree.
Especially if you traded for him, you know what I'm saying? And you like that, and it looks like it worked for the right. Think about that. That's what we kind of got to think of is like, if we won 10 games and Sam Darnold was pretty good in that period, would you re-sign him the next year? Yes or no? Right around the horn, quick fire.
Say it again. If he's
we win 10 games and Sam Darnold is the best Sam Darnold you've seen.
Yes, because you'll still get him cheaper than you would if he was
all right, so that's a 10 game
rookie.
All right.
I say no.
Okay, Greg says no.
I think I also would say no.
I think you do what they did with what's his name, Alex Smith and Holmes right there.
But you can't trade him at that point because you don't have any more time on the deal.
Did they trade Alex Smith? They just let him go.
You just let him go. You're not going to be able to get any value for Sam Darnold.
I kind of am with CK is that he wouldn't command enough. But here, what if Baker Mayfield wins 9 games and he's, pretty darn good? I think this is the problem. I'm with CK. I think, that Sam Darnold would be cheaper than Mayfield would be. So then you have to, if 9 games and Baker Mayfield had that 23 touchdowns, 7 interception season, he had 3,800 yards, Panthers win 9 games. What are they doing?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's that's the kind of fear of the Baker Mayfield thing. Is that wow? And then what do you get the next year? Do you pay then him real money at a high, even if it's 3 years, by that point it's gonna be $30 million a year.
All right.
And by the way, could I not make the case that out of all the free agent signings that we've made, how we've tooled the football team, what McAdoo wants to do with the offense, 3 big-time upgrades on the offensive line in Bozeman, Corbett, and Aquanu. What we're going to bring Baker Mayfield in here to do, why can't Sam Darnold and Matt Corral do that? We're going to hand off the football. We're primarily going to dink and dunk. We're probably going to use our tight ends some more, which I like for no matter what quarterback we're talking about. And they're going to take opportunities to push the ball downfield, when they have the opportunity to do so. But they want to run the football. That's what Deontay Foreman signing was all about. Christian McCaffrey coming back healthy.
You can't say that. Ben McAdoo doesn't like to run the football, man.
Dude, they're going to run the football. They're going to run the fuck out of the football.
I don't think we can completely let you get away with saying what can Baker Mayfield do that Sam Darnold couldn't. And I tell you this is we've seen Baker Mayfield have success in the NFL. Right. We've never seen Sam Darnold have success, and we've never seen Matt Corral have success. So I don't think we could completely just wash that away as what right now is that comparison relies on, and leaning in your direction too. So I don't think it relies on the idea that Sam Darnold behind a better offensive line will be better.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, we won 3 games last year with our offensive line was terrible at the start of the year. And that's my point, is that our offense this year shouldn't be some crazy offense that's going to take a whole lot of learning. If we're just going to hand the ball off and take shots, how about this? Yes, Baker Mayfield has gone farther on a better football team. Yes. How about this? How about this? Sam Darnold, from a physical perspective, has a better frame and quarterback build and body and arm than Baker Mayfield does. I'm not saying that he's better, but if you're going to bank on
just
potential,
like saying because you have a big D, you're better in
I'm saying
he's got a better one than Tom Brady too. But he's not better than Tom Brady.
If you're going to bank on potential and the signings that you've made in the offseason and how you have built the offense, there's no reason why Sam Darnold or Matt Corral. What is Baker Mayfield going to do that either of those two can't?
No. I'm not in total disagreement with you there, Cody. Like I said, I think he would be an upgrade from Darnold, but I don't think he's the answer. But I do feel like what Tony says, if he wins 10 games and we bring him in here, he's getting a contract. He's a number 1 pick.
Even 9, I think if he wins 9 games,
he's definitely in the contract.
Like that might save Matt Rule's job.
Yeah,
and if they traded for Baker, they could. Like, wouldn't you also want it to work?
Yeah, no, I definitely would. You would want it to work.
I know, but like if you're Scott Fitterer and you're Matt Rule and you keep Matt Rule another year, and Baker Mayfield helped you basically turn the team around, and you know, like imagine if you just let him walk.
Yeah,
and you traded for him just to get the 9 wins and be back where you were.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is like if Baker Mayfield comes, if you trade for Baker Mayfield and have any semblance of success, you got to bring him back as the quarterback in 2023, or else the trade looks dumb.
Yeah, because somebody's going to want to be successful.
At that point in time, what did you draft Matt Corral for?
That's the problem.
I don't want Matt Corral to sit for the next 2 or 3 seasons behind Baker fucking Mayfield, dude. And by the way, shout out to Sportsnut in the chat, CJA. He says, he's asking me, he's like, what, you just want to roll with Sam instead? Yeah, CJ, I do want to roll with Sam instead because you know what? That's a shorter bridge to Matt Corral. And that is the only quarterback for the Panthers that I'm willing to be excited for this season because at least there's the hope of untapped college potential in Matt Corral. And it's like you kill 2 birds for 1 stone. Matt Rule and this front office or this coaching staff rather, they connected themselves to Sam Darnold when they traded a 3rd, a 5th, and a 6th or whatever it was last year. You have given him the opportunity, the last one that he will ever have, to prove that he's a starting NFL quarterback. And then if he doesn't do it, it's time to put the rookie in. And I'm sorry, I do not adhere to this mindset that if you put him in, you're going to ruin him forever and he'll be broken for good.
Right.
Well, no one's saying that about Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. I mean, yeah, they were first.
Well, actually, some people are maybe saying this.
But they're stupid. Like, come on.
And you have to recognize, too, the NFL does not have the shelf life that it did 15 years ago, 20 years, 30 years ago, is that whether it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, there's no more Jake Delomes. Guys that come up late and all of a sudden become
I got you.
good quarterbacks and things like that. Is like it's a win now league more than ever. Is that I've watched Panther fans turn their backs on 5th round cornerbacks who have been good in a heartbeat. Look at the talk about a dang Dante Jackson, whether he's a boom, like is that there is no the timeline for development is only been accelerated. Whether you're for every position in the NFL, and that goes for quarterback too. You're trying to tell me that if Matt Corral isn't starting and awesome in 2024, that the Panthers are really going to wait around in 2025? He's going to have to show something quick because they didn't invest a bazillion all the assets in him. So if he's not the starting quarterback, at least in sometime in 2024. I don't know if he will be. And that might not be right. It might not, but it's the way the NFL, I think, is leaning.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Hey, real quick, Cody, can you say the names of those 3 new linemen again?
Bradley Bozeman as our new center.
Just the last names.
Bozeman, Corbett, and Ekwonu.
Does that not sound like a law firm? There's a T-shirt idea. There's a T-shirt idea right there.
Oh no, but dude, I gotta be
firm.
honest with you. The last time the law firm was connected to the Panthers, it was not a good time, dude.
Yeah, okay.
And so maybe that might bring back some PTSD of 2017 that Panther fans might not want.
Say that again.
Dude, the last time the Panthers were connected to a law firm, that was pretty tragic for us. Remember in 2017, we had no receivers. We had Brenton Burson. Come on, chat, help me out. What were those nobodies?
Burson was before.
Burson, Corey. Oh God, was it Jones? No, Corey.
Come on. When we went to the Superdome in 2017 in the playoffs, we had a sorry Devin Funchess. We had Brenton Burson and 2 other guys that are not on the team anymore that I literally don't even remember, dude.
I think
Clay, there we go. Kalen Clay. How could I forget him dropping Cam Newton's dime of a pass that should have been a touchdown and could have won us that game? How could I forget that, dude?
That is a good point.
You have to do something like to the effect of stuck stuck on the wall. Don't call Ekwonu, Corbett, Bozeman, or you know what I'm saying? Like, there will be a wall. That's what we're hoping for. Build that wall. We are not gonna. They are certainly not an immigrant law firm, right? They are not defending immigrants. They are trying to build walls in America. They are isolationists. I hope they are. One other complicating fact I think is that one day before this stuff about Baker Mayfield hit yesterday, we saw Joe Person say that it looks like the Panthers are warming to the idea of Sam Darnold. So like that's what some people, Panther Pickle's been saying that all day, is like who's right? Like who is, and at the end of the day, what do you think the real interest level is for the Panthers, whether you like it or not? I know you don't want it, Cody, but do you think that the interest level is real?
Oh, I have no doubt that it's real. Too many people have reported on it for it to not be real. I mean, Jonathan Jones, Joe Person, I think had even mentioned something about it. I know Pat.
And it's been months. It's been months of the rumors in the connection.
And it keeps on going too. It's where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a reason why the Panthers are the ones that continue to be a part of this. And again, that's why I don't believe that, I'm gonna have to find the original tweet. Someone put out that Matt Rule, he's prepared to go with Sam Darnold and Matt Corral. Dude, bullshit,
that was Joe Person
man.
just the day before.
I don't believe that shit for a second.
Well, you have to be prepared for it. You have to be prepared for it because that's really what you're most positioned to do. And you're asking them to be prepared for it right now. Right. Cody, that's what you're actually advocating is rolling with Darnold and Corral.
Right. I mean, look, that's what I want to do. But the fact of the matter is I don't believe that Matt Rule is just like, well, no, we don't really need Baker. Like, if we really don't need Baker, then why are we? If you're the head coach, then why are you even entertaining this? If I'm the head coach of the Carolina Panthers,
say that you don't want to roll with. They didn't like Sam Darnold for months, but they can't come out and really say we're not going to play with them. I mean, they have to.
So then what then? Okay, so we know that Ben McAdoo didn't like Baker Mayfield during the 2017 draft. So if Ben McAdoo didn't like Baker Mayfield and Matt
didn't like
Rule,
Darnold either,
and then Matt Rule apparently doesn't want Baker Mayfield. So you're telling me that Fitterer is the one chomping at the bit to get Baker Mayfield on the football team? And more importantly, if you are Matt Rule and you don't want Baker, then why wouldn't you just come out and say that to Fitterer? Like, no, we're good. Let's roll with what we have. Matt Rule is the one with the job on the line. That's why I don't believe that bullshit.
Look, I think the Panthers are in the same quarterback situation that I am with a truck. Is kind of how I look at it. Like, I've got a truck that I can put a little bit of money into and I can fix it and I can run with it. It's going to run just fine, like Sam Darnold. Okay. Now, the dealerships have all these trucks that I could pay about the same amount of money for and I could probably get about the same product and buy one of these trucks. So when I go to the dealership, I have the leverage. Like, if he's going to try to argue with me about something that's like, you're going to walk away from this car because you can't pay $10 extra a month. Well, are you going to walk away from this sale because you want to make $10 extra a month? Because I can go back to my old truck. That's what I think the Panthers are in. Like, yeah, we'll look at that if we feel like it's the best thing for us and it works. But if it doesn't, we're cool with what we got. I don't think they're pursuing it, but they're not closed-minded to it happening.
The one difficulty with that analogy, though, is now this kind of fits the Panthers' MO of desperately grasping for a quarterback at this point to get you a couple of wins over the short term.
But if you're Matt Rule and you need those wins to save your job, wouldn't you do it? Like, if Matt Rule thinks that he needs to win 10 games this year to save his job, he's going to try to do it, I think.
But you would hope that the Panthers are trying to take a more
cooler heads will prevail.
Yeah, position.
Yeah.
Greg, do you see what I'm saying, though? Like, if you're bringing in Baker Mayfield, it's to save Matt Rule's job. Like, are y'all?
I agree.
I mean,
yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying you're disagreeing. I'm saying like, come on, we gotta put the pieces together, people. Mm-hmm. Like, it's obvious that if we were to get Baker Mayfield, they think that he's a more proven starter than anyone that we have right now. And Matt Rule needs some W's. So this is 1,000% to save Matt Rule's job. I'm not buying that he has no part in this, man. That's all horse shit, dude.
I've been watching the press conferences and everything, and one of the things I almost want Matt Rule to be a good coach. Like, and I hate saying that because I don't want him to be the coach, but like I do agree. I think the Baker Mayfield thing would be just simply to save his job, but I don't know if I just don't know what it would. Again, I've said this before, and I think we've touched base on it enough times, but like the constant repeating of this buying high and selling low and just never walking away. We're just constantly been digging ourselves into a hole. And I think every year somehow we find ourselves being optimistic about this team. And I don't think Baker Mayfield is the answer, especially if it costs, unless it is a straight up swap, which it will not be. But unless it's a straight up swap, there is no reason to bring Baker Mayfield to this team. There is no reason to give up future draft capital. Even if it is a 6th or 7th round pick and we have to eat $5 million and that's it, right? That 6 or 7, even though we don't value that, what's going to happen and inevitably is the same thing that's going to happen with Sam Darnold. And that is, we're going to look back on the 2nd round pick that we gave for Sam Darnold, the 6th round pick that we gave for Baker Mayfield, and see what players were available and beat ourselves up because they're going to be all-stars.
Yep.
Right. And so like, obviously hindsight's always 20/20, but I think I agree. I think that this is a move that is a zero-sum game. There is no reason. There is no winner. And the only person that comes out on top would be Baker Mayfield.
I have a problem. My problem with Matt Rule right now is I got so upset last year where I wouldn't even call him by his name. I've tried to forgive him this year. But my thing is he's not tough guy enough for me, and he's not smart guy enough for me. So I need to either be wowed by how Stefanski was, or Mike Reed is, or what I'm saying, like to where these guys know so much, or even I think the Chargers coaches like this is like he just is so smart that I have faith in his smartness. Yeah. Right. In his intellect. Or Sean Payton. Think of Sean Payton type is that you think of like, hey, this guy is such a football guru that I have faith. I don't think Matt Rule is I'm not saying he doesn't know anything about football. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's not like, oh, I'm so wowed by his football guru-ness. And then on the other hand, he's not tough guy enough. Right? Like, it's like if you're not football guru, dude, you got to kind of be Ron Rivera, dude, or the gruff. Like we're gonna even Bill Belichick, who is actually football guru, he just doesn't let you know it all the time. I mean, he does when he talks about players and how to take away, like how to attack other teams. But he's tough guy, like Harbaugh, kind of tough guy. These are tough guys to me, and Matt Rule's just right in the middle. And like it's like he would be a good manager of your restaurant,
right?
But is it is all of a sudden that you're gonna put his name on the window? No, it's like so that's where I'm kind of in Matt Rule. I thought he was starting to feel more comfortable and confident. I listened to the press conference today. I mean, I pulled it up on YouTube, but I was doing crap in my kitchen, so I just stuck my phone in the pocket. So it's just all audio. And I didn't get this moxie, ballsy, confident tone. It wasn't like he was either. It was like he's scared either.
Right.
God.
Can I tell you what I took from his press conference? That he's really good at delegating responsibilities to others and away from him. You kind of have to sparse. You kind of have to sparse through the bullshit a little bit, right? Because on one hand, today he's talking about, he wants the players to be able to take that leadership hands-on role. That,
this was
coach,
weird.
Yeah, it's like, coach, we don't even want you to be able to have to say anything. Like Matt Rule said, I'm at the point where, I have leaders on and off the football field. He's already said that
blessed.
He's not.
I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
He's not running the offense. Okay, now he's not really running the shit on the football field. And he's like, oh yeah, now I'm in a position to just worry about football if we're doing good at football. No, it kind of sounds to me like he is a snake oil salesman. And this man is just like, oh yeah, I'm in control. I'm delegating all the brand, all this horse shit. But in actuality, if the Panthers are good this year, it'll have more to do with how Fitterer upgraded this team and how Ben McAdoo and Phil Snow have elevated the offense and the defense respectively.
Yeah, I agree. But let me ask you a question, because I think it's worthy. If we're going to talk about is the Baker Mayfield, potential trade a Matt Rule move or something else? And I almost argue that it's a business move. Not because I think they think he's going to be the better quarterback, but who's more marketable right now? Who's going to bring more attention to the Carolina Panthers? Who is going to be on more commercials and be more camera ready, right? So is this really, and this in the face of a guy whose business just filed bankruptcy, right? I know it didn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but is this a Matt Rule move, or is it a David Tepper move to try to just say, hey, what is it worth to maybe get a little bit of capital, maybe a little bit more media attention on this team? And who knows, if he's good, maybe we look like, geniuses. You know what I mean? I like, is there any part of you that believes that it is more along those lines as opposed to?
Well, that's actually the scariest part of it to me, is that it could work enough to where then you are with Baker Mayfield on a 3-4 year deal, and then the next year. And then it's not a question of, if we re-sign Baker Mayfield, which would happen if we win 10 games. Now, I think it would happen if we win 9 games. Like, you would have to bring him back. I think that, like, if you traded for them, you would have to bring him back. But when you bring him back, it's no longer a question, would you just rather have Darnold or Mayfield? It's a question that, and that's where I get irritated with the people who are, or I won't say irritated, that's not right, but people are like, oh, you wouldn't just rather have Mayfield? Well, yes, on the apples to apples comparison, I would. But if we won 9 games with Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold would not be the quarterback in 2023.
Great.
If we win 9 games with Baker Mayfield after we traded for him, he would be the quarterback in 2023.
Well, he would have certainly a much better success record, right?
Sure.
But he would have a 4-year deal. You would have, he's not going to sign a deal for 1 year.
Right.
Yeah, and that's like, if we do this, people I feel like it's a lot of delusion, Tony. I feel like so many Panther fans, at least on Twitter that I see, they're like, oh well, we'll just get Baker, and he'll help us.
We would be better, I think.
Year. Yeah, he'll help. But they're like, well, he will help us be good this year, and then next year we'll just go over to Matt Corral, and then we'll be done with Baker Mayfield. Like, no, if he comes in here and plays good, that's the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers for the foreseeable future. And like that's why
he would have to suck.
Want.
Here's
but
the only.
Remember,
right.
Last thing, Greg, and I'll throw it to you. Remember when Case Keenum took the Minnesota Vikings to the playoffs, and they had a 13-3 record? Okay, he also took that team to the playoffs. And by the way, that Vikings team had a better record than that Browns team that Baker Mayfield brought to the playoffs. That I don't hear people clamoring to go get Case Keenum to be the fucking quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, because that might as well be what everyone who wants Baker Mayfield is saying. Yeah, dude, let's go get Case Keenum.
Look, it's a bad move, and it's why I don't think they'll do it for this reason. If you're going to try to get Baker Mayfield for media hype, because here's the thing. If you fail with Baker Mayfield, you've just multiplied your problems tremendously. Because now you're the team
you just repeated
not that repeated it, that got it wrong with Baker Mayfield, and you're going to be labeled as the place quarterbacks go to die. Think about it. Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, Cam Newton, then Baker Mayfield. In 4 years, you're going to be the place quarterbacks come to die. It's going to tremendously hurt you if you fail, and there is a chance you could fail. So I think that if you're doing it for that reason, it's a dumb reason to do it. Now, if you're thinking that could be a perk if it's successful, I understand that. But it shouldn't be your sole reason, I believe, or even a consideration. If you're thinking about it, it should be all about football. All right.
Good discussion so far. We still got to talk Robbie Anderson, what he would do if Baker Mayfield was here. And I guess it's just retire. But let's go ahead. I want to jump into a couple of cat calls real quick. Kind of see what the fans are saying. The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Yo, what's good, C3? It's Justin, JD support.
What's up, JD?
I was calling in to give my opinion on the reports that the Panthers are heating up their pursuit of Baker Mayfield. I'm fairly certain at this point, you guys probably already spoke on it. I ain't for it. Even if they did a one-for-one swap, it doesn't make sense to bring Baker here. He couldn't get it done in Cleveland with Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., the talent they had in the backfield, the solid elite O-line, and elite defense. I apologize for using the E word. No rule uses that word way too much. But, yeah, man, ain't no point in them bringing Baker in. One, he's already behind the curveball. He's already behind. And what will we do? A one-for-one swap for Sam? And they might as well be the same players. Baker might be a little bit better at decision making, but Baker's also had a much better O-line and better help around him this time. So I wouldn't expect Baker to look that much better with this offense as he did with Cleveland. So at this point, just ride. If they don't plan on bringing in Cam, I know it's gonna be a lot of people like, oh, he mentioned Cam. Yeah, I'm one of those people. If you don't plan on bringing in a true.
Oh no.
Was that it?
Oh no. I guess.
Hey Tony, you gotta unmute yourself. We can't hear the cat call. I don't even know if Tony could hear us.
While we're waiting for that. So basically there's one point to that brings up a question that I have. So we can all agree, even yes, Sam Darnold has not played well, but we also know that he has not been given an opportunity with a good team, right? Like we've got to be able to acknowledge that. And so
With
the
a good
question,
O-line.
yeah, not a good. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say
Good
but
receiver,
also
good running back.
like he came in this year. He had his offensive coordinator fired in the middle of like, and you think about what happened in the Jets and how often they had turmoil there in their team. Like he's not had stability anywhere he's gone, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the opposite. You would say. I mean, I guess some might say for Baker Mayfield outside of maybe early on, and he was able to be somewhat successful with a good team, and then not successful at the same time. Right. So the question then becomes the 1-to-1 swap. Do we think that Sam Darnold has a better chance to play? Let me try to break it down. Is Sam Darnold potentially better than Baker Mayfield with a better team?
I mean,
no reason.
You're basically asking, is Sam Darnold better than Baker? Like just
right.
if it's a level playing field, who's a better?
If he had
player?
a better football team.
The idea of a 1-for-1 swap means that you believe Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback, and I think we all kind of have that feeling, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. But we also have that feeling because of evidence that's fueled by Baker Mayfield with a great team, right? So my question is it worth the 1-to-1 swap?
A great team. I think everybody acts like they were a great team. They were.
I mean, they have. If you look at it, they had every piece you could ask for. Now, were they a successful team? Yes, one time, and I think there's value in that. And when you see that, like they've got a team. Like they have a great team, and last year was no exception. But I guess the reason that I bring it up is it does kind of bring a conversation into play. Is like, is it potentially, is it worth being able to swing for the fences and see if Sam Darnold can get it done with a good team and how he compares to and this is just assuming we have a good team right now, which I think we all kind of feel like our team is massively improved since the offseason started. Do you think that it's worth the flyer at this point, which I kind of feel like it is, not because I think Sam Darnold's going to be great, but like he could very well be Baker Mayfield as well. Just give him the same opportunity.
The long term. I think it's better for the long term because I don't think there's any chance that Sam Darnold's going to be to do enough to be with the Carolina Panthers beyond next year.
Right.
And if he does, then Matt Rule's going to be around for a long time or something like that. But like, there's a chance that you bring in either Baker and Darnold, and you're still firing everybody. I mean, there is that chance there. So I think for the long-term plan, if you really believe in even the coach Rule in them, is that like you shouldn't just grab for the now. I think that's been kind of our problem with our last two quarterbacks. Teddy Bridgewater was a bridge over troubled water. Sam Darnold was a dam that could not bridge those troubled waters. And Baker Mayfield,
give me a third one,
can't bake enough bridges. I don't know, like build enough bridges. I mean, like
he can't bake a field in May.
There you go.
And can I ask a question? How do we know that we're not having the same conversation about Baker Mayfield if Baker Mayfield was behind the same offensive lines that Sam Darnold was behind? Because I'll tell you one thing. From a physical talent perspective, Sam Darnold has a better, more natural quarterback body than Baker Mayfield. And you saw last year,
oh my God,
he is a threat to run with his legs.
I don't care.
You should. Look,
I don't want to hear that anymore.
I
just want to roll with Sam Darnold, not because I give a shit about Sam Darnold and his quarterbackness, but I think that gives us a more solid direction for the future.
Right.
Like look, we're talking about either Matt Corral in 2023 or we're talking new coach, new quarterback, and it ain't even Matt Corral in 2023. Like a whole new. So I like that. I don't like the Band-Aid, keeping the Band-Aid, placing another bandage over it.
I want to ask one more question to everyone. What does Baker Mayfield do that Sam Darnold doesn't or can't? Genuine question.
Very simple. There's one answer to this, and that's has confidence.
Yep.
He's not broken mentally. He believes in himself.
Okay. I mean, that's a. I mean, it was a legit question. You know, it's a valid answer. I don't know, man. I just think that everything that we
Like you could say that about so many
Mayfield,
prospects that turn out to be head cases.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
is that or you know, is that some players you could say that about Josh Rosen.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing too is there's always going to be unknown variables in these questions with these quarterbacks, these players. You sometimes just got to take a chance. Like you raised the question of, well, what if Baker Mayfield was behind the same line as Sam Darnold? I don't know, man. Like there's some things we'll never know. We'll never be able to answer that question. What I can work with is what I have. I have seen Baker Mayfield have flashes of greatness. I've never seen that from Sam Darnold. I've never seen Sam Darnold play more than 14 games in one season. That's a fact. I've seen Baker Mayfield take the Cleveland Browns to the AFC Championship game, didn't he? And it wasn't even almost won that game.
Did he
like
take
so?
them or was he
I'm just saying. Look. I'm not arguing for Baker.
I agree.
I'm just saying
He had
all I have to go by.
He has
is
a
facts.
Heisman Trophy. He can win a Heisman Trophy. Sam Darnold can't do that.
That's all I have to go by is facts. And if that's all I have to go by, then yes, if I could do a 1-for-1 trade, Baker Mayfield 100% would be better than Darnold.
I agree.
But only under those conditions, just based on what I know.
All right, let's go to the next call, 252-228-5098.
Also, don't mute your microphone.
Oh, did I mute it?
Yeah, because when you mute your microphone,
did you not hear the call then?
No, we heard most of it. We didn't hear the end of it, but we heard most of it.
Oh, okay. What a dick I am. Sorry.
And I was gonna say,
no, what?
This is crazy. Why are you still trying to pursue Baker Mayfield? Somebody that just like Sam Darnold, a 2.0 for Sam Darnold. Like, you should not pursue him. I think probably no quarterback you should do on trade or something like that or free agency. But freaking Baker Mayfield, really, come on. Don't make no sense. And then how it's looking for Deshaun Watson, he probably not going to play none of the season. So I doubt it. I highly doubt it if we probably get Baker. How many accusations that's coming out? I think it was just a new case that just came out. But, you know.
I think Noah's bringing up
I don't know. I think that we should just keep what we have. Probably try to go get Cam Newton so he can try to he can play by hand over the mantle to Matt Corral. Keep pounding.
Cam's already said that he made the mistake of joining organizations just to join, thinking he could do. You know, like you're already at the point where you're their last choice. If you're Cam Newton, you're like there's uncertainty. There is not being there from the beginning. Cam, I think the Cam bridge is burned. I think it is. And I don't think it's burned in a negative way. I just think the bridge is we don't use that bridge no more. Now, I want to ask this about Watson, though. How are the Browns really going to trade Baker Mayfield is Watson going to play? Is that what it is? Is it at this point, it doesn't matter how many civil suits get filed against him. He's just going to play. They can't suspend him in 2 months.
Yeah, they can.
I mean, they could, but
they can do it anytime, right?
Would the NFL do that with the Browns? Why wouldn't it feels like the Browns almost have a confidence that Deshaun Watson's going to be available and play more than anybody else in the world. And I mean, they would have to have some sort of, hopefully, insight in how Goodell and these guys are feeling about this.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's just such a PR nightmare for the NFL because as of right now, this guy has the richest contract in the NFL. And every day there's more and more allegations that more and more people that have come out. And then his lawyer said that there's a 2-year statute of limitations. So they won't know how many women are going to come out and sue in that time period. So, man, I just don't know, man. I really can see a scenario where he might not play at all this year because the NFL is just
Another
making
full
such a-
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, man. And then what? That'll be 2.
And would it
3
not be a
years that he hasn't
suspension
played?
though? Would it be would they put him on the commissioner
Commissioners.
non-exempt
Yeah, but
list?
normally when
But
you're on the
then I think
commissioner's
the
exempt
team-
list, even the NFL team that doesn't have to pay that contract or like that year that they're not playing, right?
Right. I think
It
that
just holds.
they couldn't suspend him. If they suspended him, the Browns lose like crazy.
Mhm.
Right. But if they put him on the commissioner list, at least the Browns don't lose the money for that season. And they might have to pay it the next year when he's off of it.
Well,
Like extend the contract another year. I don't know what that would do. And they might get the rights to him for another year. But like I feel like the NFL is making this worse.
Yeah.
By not issuing the ruling. Like I almost feel
Dragging
like
their
they
feet.
should just come out and say this as the season is approaching, mini camps are approaching, and we're either going to make a ruling on this as it stands now, or he has to be suspended
Right.
or like something. Like you can't just like or not. I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't do it halfway through the season. All of a sudden, it's been 2 freaking years,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, now we're gonna do it.
Well, and this scenario right here is the only reason the Matt Corral thing came into my mind earlier. Because think about this: like they don't know if they're going to have Watson or not. That relationship with Mayfield is broken. Even if you don't have Watson, I don't think you can run with Mayfield as the Cleveland Browns quarterback again. I just don't think you can. So that would be a situation. That
he
was the only
wouldn't.
reason. Yeah, he
But
would.
he
And then
would just refuse. You know what I'm saying?
That was why. Well, he would have to roll out there, but it doesn't mean he has to play hard. You know,
He
gotta go out-
would. If
No,
he
he's
gotta
got to
go out there,
audition for he would have to audition for another team, but
That's
it
true.
would almost be better for him to either go and ball out or to say, I hate y'all did this. I'll just take the money. I'll just sit on the sidelines. You can cut me if you want.
It's true.
You got rid of
But-
Odell talked his way out of there. Why can't damn Mayfield?
Yeah. But that was the only reason I threw the Matt Corral thing in there, because in my mind that it's a wacky trade, but that for them would be at least securing somebody that they know may have talent that doesn't hate the franchise. You know?
God, imagine that. Imagine Cody on this show. the moment the news breaks that the Panthers have traded Matt Corral straight for Baker Mayfield. What if they did this? How about this, Cody? What if the Browns ate all of Mayfield's contract and you gave him Matt Corral?
No.
What if they
I
give us a
still
second round
think
pick next year?
Cody's head would explode on this podcast.
Yeah.
Like we
Hold
didn't give
up,
anything.
baby.
We gave him Matt Corral and they gave us a free Mayfield. Like a
No.
complete free Mayfield.
No, you're trading Mayfield. You're trading the third round pick. No, you're not even just
anything.
No, we wouldn't pay $1 for him. They would have to pay
Not my
his
point.
$18 million.
Not my
you would
point.
give Corral a guy who has not played a single snap.
But you
in the
traded
NFL.
not only a third round pick next year and a fourth round pick this year for her. So you're really
it's Corral.
That
Oh, that now
a good
that
point.
is a point I didn't think of.
And yeah, by the way,
No, I
it's
don't
also-
want to do this. I'm just saying this
Yeah.
is that what Greg is saying is that if you look at it from that angle, I know Cody's head is, look, we're all going to get indigestion. Cody's head will literally explode. But there's a possibility that Panthers might do something dumb like that without taking all the money.
Right.
Yeah,
I will
whatever.
get out of my wheelchair, run to Bank of America Stadium, and slap the shit out of Scott Fitter.
Nah, I think you
if
got to
he
go
does
in your
this.
wheelchair. That would be more of a statement.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if the first time I ever got out of my fucking wheelchair was to
Right.
get up and
To
go
run
slap
like
him because I was
Jesus
so
to-
mad, like that's some
He
real.
would call you the
anger right there.
Antichrist.
By the way, Kevin, I know this is your burner account, bro. I know, bro. I know you. And that's
I was
not
thinking
my
about this.
brother.
Can you play the video?
Yeah, I'll play the video, but I'm not gonna play the music. I'll play the video though.
Look, you should not be upset by this.
But
Not a bit. Is that, look, your doppelganger is way cooler than the internet's doppelganger for me.
laundry guy.
I know.
The laundry guy.
I know.
Nah, dude, the laundry guy's cool, man. That's your homeboy. All right, I got.
I love him, but come on, is that and now if the laundry guy could do what this dude did, it'd be fantastic. As you're pulling it up,
Yeah,
we're not going to play it
I
with the
gotta
music.
find
How about
it.
this? Since you're not going to play it with the
Oh,
music,
okay, I'll find
we
it. I'll
will
find it.
overlay the next call to it.
Okay.
Cody Lashney has been a sensation on the internet. Multiple people messaging him because he's got a doppelganger that's got some wheels on him of his own.
Everybody's saying this is me, dude. God damn. And of course I wore. And of course I wore a fucking
Look at
blue
this. Look
shirt.
at him go.
Hey, of course I wore a blue shirt tonight too. Come on, dude. I blame Kevin for all of this, dude.
And KC3's nowhere here again. But I can say one thing. Even if we do get Baker Mayfield, I think that we will have the same outcome how we had last season. Hate to say it, but it may be true. Because if you think about it, Baker and Donald, they're right behind each other. Like, they're the same type of people. Now, Baker may have a little bit more flaws, but I just think that if we go get Baker, I think we're going to have the same season how we had last year. I think that's what we'll have to live with if we do go get him. And I think that we're not going to get him. Probably not this season. Probably next season. That is Deshaun Watson. Don't have no more cases. But, yeah. C3, I'm out. Please.
Cody, I want to say this is look, this is a great video to have. This girl over here beside him is working as hard as she can. She is lifting her dress around. She is doing everything, and all eyes are on you. All eyes are on you, bro. This guy, I like him. I like him.
Hey, listen, I'll say this, man. He doesn't give a damn about what anybody thinks about him. So it's a real vibe. I'll say that. I like that about him. But
I hear you.
I don't know,
All
man.
right.
But like, dude, but just because we have the same hair, like, come on, dude.
Greg just wrote in the private chat, just leave that playing for the rest of the night.
just leave in the background.
I'm sorry, I had to make that public. That was funny.
Just make it a GIF, and like let's just go ahead and do that.
We gotta get someone who can really do like video graphics real good, like can do the floating head. If we could really put your head,
I can do that
on him throughout the whole time.
Send me that video. I'll make it happen.
Yeah, all right, do it. And then whenever I have a hot
or
take,
put like or you know how it's 3, so there's 1, 2, 3.
Have
so
it skip across the screen.
Of them, put one of the heads be Cody's and see it be like, can you figure out which one it is?
dude. All right, fine, but then we have to do that with you and the laundry guy.
Oh yeah, dude. I had to deal with it. I laughed at. I mean, I cried and laughed. I laughed on the show and then cried myself to sleep over that. Now, I will take a joke. If one thing about this is there's only one person that I hate laughing at me, right? And that's like my wife. Because there's a difference between laughing at your jokes and like laughing at you because they think you're a joke. And my wife can, when we be getting in the argument, sometimes laugh, and it makes me fucking furious. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's to laugh. But otherwise, from other people, I can take a great joke. I mean, it's like a lot of my friends, I'm not the best swimmer, so I've had a couple of jokes about that a couple of times. Is that I've been seasick on a fishing trip with people, and people making fun of you the whole time. I can take it. I can joke at myself generally.
Right.
But when you laugh at me, like looking down at me, like you're an idiot, like that's when I get so, and my wife can do it. You know who can push your buttons more than anybody? Like who makes you the most upset in your life? And I think it's the people you love the most.
Oh, no doubt.
My mom and my wife can make me like my head explode, but I would kill anybody over them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not.
Care about
they
what
know.
Mm-hmm.
They know me so well. They can push my buttons to that point. The number's 252-228-5098. Panthers Pickle wants to get on the conversation.
Hey, this is Panther Pickle. I'm gonna stand by what I said all over the place. I don't think there's a lot of there's a lot to this, but Jonathan Jones is the only one reporting this. He run his lip. Even Joe Person commented about today in one of his articles. He says he says there is still rumor and talk going on about that, about trading for Baker Mayfield. But the problem is the Panthers ain't giving in to Cleveland's demands, and Cleveland ain't giving in to Panthers, so nobody's budging. Now, I personally believe that Matt Rule wants Baker Mayfield. He wants a veteran quarterback.
Same.
The problem is he's likely the only one in that building who wants it. And since he's not running the show, Scott Fitterer is, it behooves Scott Fitterer, or it behooves Matt Rule into letting this stuff go. But at the same time, the agent is probably the one calling Jonathan Jones and telling him that
that's got to be Tampa.
Panthers are still interested in Baker Mayfield. Even if the Panthers have never told that agent, that Baker Mayfield's agent is likely the one calling Jonathan Jones, and Jonathan Jones is reporting this. Because he's the only one that's reporting it. The only deal is everybody else is copying and pasting that. If you go to all these articles out there talking about this that was put out today, they're all referring to Jonathan Jones. They're all referring to him.
Well, of course.
He's the only one reporting that. Only one.
And that's how it works, though. Is
Look it up.
Usually, one guy gets this. Is usually in Jonathan Jones' defense, he's a good reporter. Like, he tries to be above the book. Like, he really tries to be like a real journalist. He went to UNC Chapel Hill as a journalist. I got an argument over him because he wrote. I always, every time I tweet him, I have to hashtag ECU, because when he was in college, he wrote for the college newspaper for Chapel Hill. And this was right when Twitter came out. I mean, like the first year it came out. It might have been like 08, 09. And I ended up messaging him because he wrote this article about how ECU thinks the game against Chapel Hill is a rivalry, but nobody in Chapel Hill cares about, it's the same thing Saints fans say about Panther fans, it's like, oh, it's a rivalry to you guys, but we don't even know we don't even think about you, that kind of thing. And I wrote him, I went back and forth with him, and now he was a college reporter then, but I've watched him go from the News and Observer, right, to he went to Yahoo, I think, or maybe he just went straight to CBS, and then he went up to CBS HQ. Like, he's really trying. He doesn't report crazy crap. He is kind of conservative in his
out there.
style. Yeah. So that's how I want to defend him on that. But I do think Panther Pickle is right. It's like, we have to think about these shadow games that are played by the people who can benefit from interest and the agency. And maybe it's not even his agent. It's probably his agent talking to another agent who owes him a favor, and they're leaking it. And then I'll leak something for you later on.
I mean, isn't that that's how it works?
Yeah.
Like, people
I think that's a good point, though, is that
yeah,
if it is a leak, like if it's, how did he get the information? Who did it come from? It doesn't behoove the Panthers unless the Browns are leaking it. Now, this has happened to us before. Didn't
use
this
it as
happen
leverage?
to us? This happened to us like with Minnesota or somebody, where we called them, and maybe it was during the draft, and somebody said about something about it later on during free, and they got some sort of better deal for a player. This has happened to us before, where the team we called leaked the info to drive the price up for what we were asking for.
But like, my biggest thing is, like, there's nobody else calling and asking for Baker right now, right? Like, we can all agree that nobody's going to try to eat that much of a backup quarterback's salary, and the only team that's going to ask for him to come on their team is and try to be a starter is potentially the Panthers, right?
The only two teams I ever hear mentioned are the Panthers and Seattle, but I haven't heard anything on Seattle's front as of late.
It's because Seattle is doing the rebuild thing correctly. Like, if you look at how they handled the draft, like, they weren't going heavily after quarterbacks. They were building their team with the idea that we're going to get our quarterback eventually. Right now, we need to be able to build this team up because outside of Russell Wilson, until they got rid of him, they had no identity, right? So they were just building their team up. I think they're trying to create the good team and then add the quarterback. That's why I don't see them going after a Baker Mayfield yet. Now, does that mean that they won't if the Browns were to release him? Probably they might take a swing on him, give him a decent salary, and I'm sure that Baker will be more than happy to take a smaller pay because he's going to be getting paid the full amount from the Browns if they release him. So he's going to be like, yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'll go play it, and they'll make a little extra money on top of what I'm making already because the Browns are paying me. Like, makes sense to me.
I mean, that actually might work to Baker Mayfield's advantage. I know they're not going to cut or release him, but if they did and he got paid, he could go anywhere he wanted to. Say, hey, look, you give me a 1-year veteran minimum for $1 million. That gives me $20 million for this year. I'll play for you, and then maybe if it works out, yeah, that actually could work out for Mayfield, but it's not going to happen,
right?
Yeah, again. But listen, we've made it this far into the show, and they were good for a while. But the freaks come out at night, you know what I mean, off a grid. He said it correctly. They're tired of waiting. They had their Baker Mayfield fixed. They're like, okay, thanks for the discussion, guys. But you know what we're really here for. So fine, dude. We'll just give you what you want. The voice that makes you moist. Cody Dizzle, talk to these freak shows, bruh.
Me? You want me to talk to these? All right, I'll do it. One man must talk to an entire chat room full of Panthers fans or Panthers haters. But you've come in here to hear what we have to say about Baker Mayfield, about the Carolina Panthers, Matt Rule, and maybe even Sam Darnold. You hear some crazy, loco ideas about trading Matt Corral for Baker Mayfield. But you come over here and you stick around and you haven't hit that like button yet. I have one thing to say to all you legends. Subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame. 128 strong viewers, 65 likes. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live, man. You know you like these long-form discussions where we dive deep into the Carolina Panthers. We love doing it for you. If you enjoyed this content, share it with a friend. Tell somebody, hey, man, I know these dudes. They're cool as hell, man. It feels like I'm just driving in the car to the Panthers game, hanging out with my boys. That's what this show is. Let somebody know, man. Spread the good news.
We got some more calls to get to. The number's 252-228-5098. But there's some more news we want to pop in before we continue to just get lost in the Mayfield weeds. All right. In real news, Carlos Dunlap visited the Carolina Panthers. He visited the team today, according to Josina Anderson. Dunlap visited the team today with physicals and will continue tomorrow with meetings with coaches per league source. Dunlap, who early 30s, 32 maybe, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think
somebody look up his age.
I'll look it up.
8.5 sacks, I think, for the Seattle Seahawks last year, a veteran. That is a type of player that would fit in this team with a YGM, with kind of like we need some depth in case something doesn't work.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So he's 33 years old, by the way.
33?
Yeah, 33 years old. I mean, listen, I would love this. At the end of last season, after a certain point, I think he was injured, but then he came back and had like 8 sacks. I mean, listen, the guy is, 6'6". He's a big guy. He's strong. I think he's a good pass rusher. Shout out to Dan Floyd. He had 8 sacks in his last 6 games. And the fact that we lost Son Reddick, and once again, we have to reiterate that Phil Snow and Matt Rule have now mentioned on multiple occasions wanting to set a better physical edge and to be more dominant on the line of scrimmage. I think this would be perfect for the Panthers, man. I wish that there was more talks about this than Baker Mayfield. I think Dunlap would be a perfect signing. Tony, we're not even asking him to do too much, really. Like, he's not coming in to be another superstar. He's just going to be a guy that's in rotation with guys like YGM, Marquise Haynes. He has a ton of experience. You know, he's been around, he's played meaningful playoff football. I said, why not?
Well, he's a 2-time Pro Bowler.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that as long as it doesn't, you would be bringing in for something, you know, is that I think the veteran presence, the rotation, if anything, the problem that we have sometimes with, it's not that if YGM is going to be good, it doesn't matter if Marquise Haynes is going to be a little bit better than average, is what happens if those things, that's like the best. Like, what is the best case scenario? The best case scenario is YGM comes out there and gets 6-7 sacks and looks like he could be a starter. The best case scenario is Marquise Haynes and him work together wonderfully all season long and somehow make kind of in that 10-11 sack range and fill that void,
right?
And a little bit better against the run than you were with Hassan Reddick. But that's the best case scenario. It's never the best case. It's rarely the best case. Somebody can get hurt, something can happen, and then what do you go into?
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like having that and you know what? If Dunlap comes in is better than YGM and Marquise Haynes right away, who gives a shit? Then start them.
Right.
I don't know. I don't see how you could lose here, but there is some excitement when you put the Young Bucks together.
Mm-hmm.
This video was this video is so good, Cody, because there's the vulnerability of him not getting it right the first time. Right? YGM forgets to do the handshake and goes straight into, you know, he's like trying to think of, oh, we're about to make this video. I got to do this. He's thinking about this.
Yeah, he's looking down on
or
it
do you
like,
think
man,
that
you
was
done
planned?
messed it up.
I think that it felt real to me.
Yeah.
What is YGM trying? What is he trying to be like? Who is he trying to impersonate?
No, they're doing a double Spider-Man. So is it a double Spider-Man celebration?
No, Brian Burns is Brian's shooting the webs, but what is he doing?
Yeah, if I had to guess, it looks like he's kneeling with a shield, like doing a Captain America. If I had to guess.
Okay.
Like that'd be
so
that'd be
it
my
is a
guess,
choreograph. Like that would be a cool celebration if we knew that's what it was. We made such a big deal over Brian Burns and Hassan Reddick in their golf cart last year, the golf cart bet. Right?
Yeah.
Is that these guys combined for a second? They came up and did that. And we knew that he was doing a captain. Like if the press like asked him about it, and we knew that's dope, right?
Yeah.
That
Both
panda. That's what I
Marvel, right?
thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought there was Iron Man, like maybe shooting out some of his like missiles that he has in his arms or whatever. I don't know, man. That's
I think
tough.
Greg's
But I mean,
right.
I
like Captain America and Spider-Man together.
I like the fact that we have a bunch of nerds on our football team. And
It's not Black Panther, is it? That's what they should. What is the Black Panther celebration? If I'm YGM, I got to do that.
No,
Or is that
Black
too much to
Panther.
live
You
up
put
to?
the hands on either side of your shoulders, and you put the claws up.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So it's not Black Panther.
Maybe we got to talk him into doing that.
Yeah. But hey, just real quick, the Carlos Dunlap thing. Look, I was just doing some math. This guy's averaging 8.7 sacks a year, 32 tackles, and 10.6 tackles for loss. I mean, if you sign this guy and he's got a little bit of gas left in the tank in his young 30s, 33, he's got 3 years left maybe, but who knows? I think it's a great signing.
He's the Peanut Tillman signing
that's a great
the defensive
comparison.
line.
Great comparison. Yes.
You know, is that Tillman clearly was in the secondary, but a guy that's been in the league long enough and had enough success that if he gets a little second, third wind, Tillman was great for the Panthers.
Yep.
Fan favorite. I like that. Like this kind of feels like something we don't need to lose this deal.
Right.
We don't need to lose the Dunlap deal. Need to make it happen.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything new. I mean, so yesterday he came in. He was meeting with us again today. I was hoping that we would know something by today, like that they wouldn't let him leave.
Well, when was the tweet that I put up? What was the
third? That was yesterday.
Oh, so today. Oh, so yesterday that happened. Then he left today without a deal.
Yeah. And he's from Charleston. Yeah. Yeah,
Panthers
that's what I'm
lowballed him?
saying. Like,
Is that what
why,
it is? The
like,
Panthers
why,
lowballed him?
it feels like the Panthers are trying to make a better effort for Baker Mayfield than actually upgrading their D line more. Like, I don't know, man. It's just, I would.
How about
love
this?
that
Is
for us.
my excitement level would be higher if we get Dunlap than it would be if we got Mayfield.
Agreed.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
And not that I'm going to go out and be like Dunlap's going to make our defense dominant. I just could see how Dunlap would fit into a plan of what our team is trying to do. Continue to build cap space, continue to do that. You know what I mean? Like it just would, it's not a crazy over the top signing. Mayfield is, again, like Cody said, a little too close to the insanity waters for me.
Yeah.
You know, imagine this as we just went through the trade for Sam Darnold. You know, we just gave assets up for Sam Darnold. We gave assets up for Matt Corral. We're going to give up assets for Baker Mayfield. Yuck. Yeah. Right? Oh, we just tried to find a bridge quarterback with Teddy Bridgewater. We just tried to find a bridge quarterback with Sam Darnold. We just half-assed it with Baker Mayfield. Yuck.
Yeah, man. It's the same thing over
Dunlap.
and over. I mean, Dunlap. I mean,
he Dunlap Mayfield.
Dude, I would love Dunlap to be a part of this team. I think that would be a great signing. I'm not making a one-for-one comparison here, but it would remind me a little bit. It's not the middle of the season like it was in 2015, but it would kind of be like getting Jared Allen. He's not the type of player that Jared Allen was in his prime.
I was trying to think of a player it reminded me of because Jared Allen was mid-season trade. Yeah. All of a sudden, this helped us. Maybe
that was
Peanut.
A good signing for mid-season.
I think Peanut Tillman is in the conversation, kind of like a Gerald McCoy or who.
Roman Harper.
And Gerald McCoy did not work out for us, so it didn't work. No. And then who was the other guy that we got from
Roman
Kansas
Harper?
City?
No, Dontari Poe.
Dontari Poe
from Kansas City, yeah.
Right.
That didn't work out.
You're
very
right.
Well, though.
This is actually, we would want this to be more like Tillman or Harper than we would want it to be Poe or McCoy. Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's kind of like the four, like, is like Tillman and Harper are the good examples of that, of bringing in a guy like this.
How are we?
Poe and McCoy, bad examples.
Are we talking about because they're old hats? Like it's that type of player. I mean, because
I think old hats.
Yeah, it's like
consistently decent players.
Yes,
that have had good careers, solid careers.
That have had solid careers. Okay, I was about to say, like, I mean, I feel like there was a defensive end on our team last year that you could probably compare him to, but
who? What, Reddick?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Reddick's young though.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Like, that's where I was
thinking. Reddick's a better player too, to be honest with you.
And he's a lot smaller than Dunlap.
Yeah. Or he's not the better player. He's just the better player because he's young and explosive. Right. He's not as well rounded as
Dunlap.
Yeah.
I wanted to call him
I don't think he is. Is like, look, because I don't want to shit on Hassan Reddick, but I think it was probably best to either Burns or Reddick. Was Dunlap with the Bengals originally?
I remember him being with the Bengals.
He was drafted by the Bengals, and then
now the Bengals had some bosses on their defense when they stunk.
Played for the Bengals for 9 years.
I think he was one of them.
Do you guys think Xavier Woods has the potential to be another version of Kurt Coleman?
I think he could be better than Kurt Coleman. Kurt Coleman didn't come over here with nearly the resume that Woods does.
Right. Coleman was a pleasant surprise.
Kurt Coleman
turned out to be better than we thought he was going to be. Well, because we had the image. Do you remember the image of him getting his ass busted when he was with the Eagles? You have to Google this video.
No, I know it.
Where he comes up with his head, where his head exploded, his nose was all bloody. He was good for 2 seasons. He was great. Yeah, actually, that's another kind of parallel. A guy you bringing in to fill a role who turned out to be better than you thought he would be.
Yeah,
Kurt Coleman. The only thing I like, the whole Kurt Coleman argument though, is like he had the benefit of a great supporting cast, right? So I think he did well, and I'm not going to take that away. But like when he didn't have that supporting cast, he wasn't the same player either.
Dunlap was a blue chip player at one point.
Right.
Coleman was never a blue chip player.
Right.
Coleman's kind of in the conversation of a Josh Norman
Right.
type player, whereas like he had a couple of
Carolina.
moments, but Dunlap was like they said, 9 years starting and a real presence on the field.
Mm-hmm.
He was a staple of the Bengals pass rush for a long time.
And they had some dogs on that defense too for a long time.
Yeah,
Remember they had Marvin Lewis. Was it
Burf
Marvin
said
Lewis they had for
Perfect.
a bazillion years?
Yeah.
The worst, the dirtiest player that we ever faced as a Panthers fan.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah,
that?
I'll never forget
Perfect.
that. in my
Perfect.
life.
Yeah.
That game in 2014 where we had a draw with the Bengals, Cam had rushed into the end zone, and at the end of the play, you can see
That was
Perfect trying to twist his leg and break his shit. Like,
And
I'll never
didn't he do the
forget that
same
as
thing to
long
Greg
as
Olson
I
though?
live.
Like I feel like
Yeah,
that's almost
Burfict played like that. Burfict was like in jail one day and then on the field the next day.
Yeah, he's suspended.
But I tell you this is like he's kind of like an old school defensive player. Like that shit was normal in the 80s and 90s.
right.
He reminds me
Mugs
of the
just
guy
doing
off
shit
of
like
Any
that.
Given Sunday.
LT.
Yeah, the guy LT played.
one of the best football movies of all time.
Oh my
But,
god,
you know,
what a bullshit!
Yeah, see,
It's
Golden
so
Bird
bad.
twisted
It's
down.
better
so
than
bad.
Rudy.
So bad. All right. This has actually been a big story. Before we go, don't worry, we're going to get back to the calls. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Like we said, you can support the show by subscribing. You can also find ways to donate to the show. You can buy a t-shirt off of CarolinaCatChronicles.com. You can donate monetarily, and you can call into the show at 252-228-5098. This is the day or two of deleted tweets. John Ellis has deleted a tweet. We have two reporters in the last week who have been like, look out, news is coming. I think that's why Ellis, Panther, what's his name? What's his Panther? One
Panther Place.
One Panther Place. Who has always said he was going to come on the show and then always has something come up. So we're going to hold you to it. I'll learn the name fully then. It's John Ellis then. But he put out a tweet today that said, like, wheels are in motion. Something like this. His wheels are turning. Look out for news in the next couple of days. He deleted it. I don't have the exact wording, so I'm paraphrasing what somebody told me about the tweet. So I don't know if I even got in the same ballpark. But last week we had the other Fox News reporter from Charlotte or something be like, look out, news is on its way. And then nothing happened. And everybody was like, was this a attention grab? What the hell was going on? Another guy that loves to go for the attention grab is Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson put this tweet up, and we didn't need Robbie to English for this one. Maybe to help him with capitalization of proper nouns. If anything, Robbie could this is what I feel like. This is what my students do all the time. It's like, what is the random capitalization? Are you trying to tell me something with ATR here? Don't know. But he said this ain't gone. Ain't go.
Can I do it for you? I can do it real good.
Oh, I hate it. I'm just
Ain't
like,
gonna lie. Thinking about retiring.
Ain't gonna lie.
Can
Say it
I
one more
take?
time.
Ain't gonna lie. Thinking about retiring.
I
feel like he should have put Ghana. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to not use real English, like the proper English, I understand. Like, if you want to be more I think it's colloquial, right? Like or vernacular, like just common language. Ain't gonna lie. But this ain't. I ain't gone somewhere to lie. Thinking about retiring. Robbie Anderson put this tweet out and then deleted it after, but hey, the internet always wins and remembers everything. And then he showed up at mini camps today. He was the focus of a lot of questions that Matt Rule would not answer, and also exited practice a little bit early with some hip soreness. Robbie Anderson retirement. What do you guys think? Robbie Anderson.
Well, I can tell you, I think I have a solution for your improper capitalization of the T there, because this happens to me. Sometimes you hit the period instead of the space bar, instead of the space. And then when you go back to delete the period, it doesn't decapitalize the thinking, and you just go through the motions on your phone. So I think that's what.
What about the bout and the R?
I couldn't take. I couldn't take that. I
Bro,
mean, it
you're
could be the same
honestly
thing. You hit a
thinking-
period instead of a space, but I mean,
You're honestly
yeah.
thinking way too deep on it.
Yeah, I shouldn't try to defend Robbie Anderson. Yeah,
It's none of that, dude. It's none of that. And dude, how about this? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know why I don't give a
I
shit?
do.
But can I tell you why I don't give a shit? Like, we knew this is who Robbie was. Like, he's always like, okay, last year when he was mad at
Oh,
Sam
because he got
Darnold on the
arrested and he said he was
sideline.
going to nut in the cop's wife's eye or something.
Dude, he's
That was the
but dude,
best.
even if you go back to his time with the Jets, dude, he's always been on some extra shit, man. So it's like, dude, Robbie Anderson is gonna shut up and be happy once we finally have someone that can throw him the football. Until then, yeah, if I were him, I'd probably be thinking about retiring too. The prospects are not looking too good. When, by the way, all the news is that the Panthers are going to trade for the quarterback that you went online and were like, nah. You
If
made
he
a
retired,
public-
he would not get his season salary. He would only get the guaranteed money.
dude. if
Like he's
he-
not going to retire. He's not like it's like such a stupid thing to say. He's not going to retire.
How
Like
much
he
do we owe
literally will not retire. It's impossible for him to retire
Yeah,
because
but we, like,
we're not going to cut him before June 1st. There's
What
no
if we
way.
trade him for Baker Mayfield swap? How
He's
much do
still
we owe
going to
him?
get his salary. Like his salary goes. He gets it. You know what I mean? Like he is going. It behooves him to play. If you say if he's overpaid, then it behooves him to play.
True.
Like this is just silly. Is like what is he? Is he trying to force a trade?
Yep.
That's what he forced the contract. Remember, he said not forced it, but he has not backed down. Last year, when he did not come into any of the, he did the same thing. Now you're wondering is like he's not gonna come in any optional shit. But last year he was ready to sit out until he got the contract. They gave him the contract, 2-3 years, whatever it was. People complained about how much money it was. Is this him flexing to try to get out of Carolina?
Yeah, I mean,
Dude clearly
Devontae
doesn't wanna be
Adams
here.
and Tyreek Hill are both gone from their quarterbacks now. I think he feels like on his level he can fill those roles. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. He's on Devontae and Tyreek Hill's level.
I think we figured it out. He's flexing. This isn't a flex. He's trying to be a problem.
Yeah.
And he can't lose. He can't lose. What are you gonna do? Cut him?
But I mean, you
We
decide.
figured it out. Is Robbie's or is he like he ain't gonna lie? He's the smartest dude in the room.
He agreed to come here, didn't he? We didn't trade for Robbie. We signed him.
Right.
We signed him, but then we extended him.
Yeah, so he was okay coming choosing
But
the
then he got
Carolina
paid.
Panthers.
But
Yeah,
then he
but that's
got
what I'm
paid.
saying. That's what I'm saying. He chose the Carolina Panthers to come here because of Matt Rule and Temple or whatever. Then
He got
he comes here
1,000
and-
yards. Got
then
paid.
he comes here and signs another contract. It's like, dude, you had options, and this is where you came.
didn't
You
have
got one
options.
more year on your contract.
Was anybody else offering him something though?
I know
Was the
this was the
question.
best option. He had a
Dude.
guy that believed in him in
Yeah.
Matt Rule. Dude, Robbie Anderson right now is flexing for a trade. And it would be awesome for him. Think about this. It's like what the worst thing you're gonna do is dump him to another team that ain't got a quarterback. Ugh. Like,
I
what does
just
that
don't
mean?
care,
Like, what
man.
is the worst thing that could happen? You send him to Detroit? Oh, hey, I'd rather play with Goff than I would with Robbie wants out.
That's
Robbie
not my
wants
bad.
out, and he's going to get paid no matter what. Because if he gets traded, even if it's for a 6th-round pick, they got to pick up his salary. Like the money goes with him.
But then he better continue to act out before the trade deadline. It'd be interesting to see what he does.
Well,
but I
that's
think,
like till like October, bro.
yeah, but like my thing is he hasn't done shit.
Right.
Like, listen,
Well,
and
he had
this is
1,000-yard season to start.
no, I don't give a damn about that 1,000 yards. He hasn't done shit, man. And
Oh,
he's
no.
never been on a team that's had a
Bullshit.
winning
He's done
record.
more than Curtis Samuel ever did.
The point being, they were both a part of the same cursed position. The Panthers' deep threat wide receiver is cursed because we never have a good offensive line that could pass protect long enough for them to push the ball downfield. And then on top of it, like we haven't had the quarterback to actually, put the passes in the right place. So I kind of think he got the shakes. You know, when the ball finally did come his way last season, he got the dropsies, man, because he wasn't able to build up a reliable connection with a quarterback. And receivers live and die as the quarterback does. So, dude, he's a diva, man. He's a drama queen. We know this. I accept this about him. I'm not one of these people, like a lot of people that still pissed at him for last year and how many how many passes he dropped. And I'm like, dude, Robbie Anderson can take the top off of a defense. That is literally the only thing that we need him to do.
Yeah.
Okay, if we get him in a better situation, Robbie Anderson is going to be a much better player until he's given credit for. And I'm willing to give him that benefit of the doubt. Until then, he should probably just shut up and play football, man.
Look, the only issue I have with what you just said was you were saying that he didn't catch a lot of balls because he couldn't get the ball to him or something like that. I can't remember exactly what you said there, but here's the thing: he has a 60% catch rate this last year, which is pretty bad. 6 out of 10 balls. I can catch 6 out of 10 balls from anybody who throws it to me. Oh, you said he didn't have a connection with Darnold. Yeah, Tony, you could throw me 10 balls right now and I catch 6 of them. Come on.
There was a thing though that he had the dropsies for the first 4 or 5 weeks, and then PJ Walker came in and he caught like a great pass, and everybody's like, he just don't like catching passes from white quarterbacks because Teddy Bridgewater, because it was Teddy Bridgewater, then Sam Darnold, and then PJ Walker, and then he caught a pass from Cam Newton, and people were like, he don't like white quarterbacks. Here's the thing though. It's like, what are you gonna do to Robbie Anderson?
Yeah, I got Robbie.
What are you gonna do? Is his guaranteed money is what, 20 million? You paid 8 million of it, 9 million of it last year. If you cut him, you got to write him a check for $10 million and he gets to sign a new contract. So you're not going to do that. If you trade him, you have to eat the $10 million and they're going to pay him the $1 million. So if you trade for Robbie Anderson, you get a great deal from another team.
Yeah.
For another team's standpoint is this: if Robbie Anderson just says this, and this might be what he's trying to do, is be such a distraction and a headache at this point to where the Panthers just don't want him. And if that's the case, he gets his guaranteed money all because the Panthers have to pay it to him all. That doesn't go with the trade. And the team trading for him only has to pay the salary, the base salary for that year.
Nah,
I think we figured it out. Is Robbie Anderson is working to get traded.
What would you want to get for him? We're talking like maybe like a
well,
player,
it sucks
player
because
trade?
you're paying like is that it better? It sucks. Like is this is one of the few times that the player has a big advantage and the opposing team trading for him has a big advantage. Is it's a $10 million thing. Like whatever you get for him has to be worth $10 million. So it would have to be a player and a pick. Yeah. A player and a pick, and not a good pick. It would be like a fifth and a player who is like a rotational offensive lineman or something, or a kicker or some shit like that. You would get something in a pick because you wouldn't let $10 million just walk away. You would rather for him to just suck for a year and you put Terrace Marshall Jr. and you punish him.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what you do. You don't let him get away and benefit from you and the next team. If it gets to a point where it's like that, where they don't even want to play him anymore, which I don't think it is close to that or is going to be. But if it got to that point, then you just sit his ass on the bench. I mean, if you got to pay him, you got to pay him.
Though, it's like he could make such a big deal. He could pull the screaming at Robbie Anderson. I mean, at Sam Darnold, he could be going on social media. You can't silence him. You would just have to say we're eating it. And at that point, I think the Panthers would be starting to talk about picks and some crap like that.
Yeah.
Robbie Anderson's trying to get a trade, folks.
How about this? Tycoon Sills says, I think it's because he knows Terrace Marshall is getting a bigger role. And one of the commonalities that I did hear today was Shaq Thompson and Christian McCaffrey basically saying that over the course of the offseason, Terrace Marshall Jr. has really made that next step
I think they're just being nice. I think they're just being fucking nice.
Right. Maybe they are just being good teammates, but at the same time, like when you go back and look at what Terrace Marshall did at LSU and how they were able to use him, like he was clearly underutilized last year. Again, the circumstances last year with our offensive line and with our quarterback, it was truly built for no one to thrive under. So that's why I'm not going to take last year and use that to make a blanket assessment of Terrace Marshall Jr. or Shi Smith, who I know.
Well, he was hurt. He was hurt last year. He was injured. But what I'm saying is this: is what else? Of course, he's taking a giant leap. He can fucking walk. He can run down the field now. You have like we didn't see him run at all last year, so they'd be like, "Oh, he's taking massive." First of all, shut up. Like, don't believe. And I'm not saying you shut up, but I'm saying to Christian McCaffrey. Where does Christian McCaffrey even hung out with Terrace Marshall Jr.?
No, but this is what I'm saying.
For one fucking day.
Okay. But this is what we do know about Christian McCaffrey. His work ethic is crazy. If you're about
but what is he? He better be working with him outside of the fucking practices. They've only practiced like 5 minutes.
Knowing how much of a hard worker and a hard trainer and how dedicated Christian is to his preparation, I doubt he's just going to say that about his teammates.
What could you have seen?
If he's not actually doing
seen, though? What could he have truly seen?
Well, he could be in better shape. He could just be in better, pure physical football shape.
Like being able to run.
Routes,
okay. Well, that was one. It was hurt last year. I just think this is a massive. I think this is a little sin, is like grabbing onto a guy just saying some shit that's just supposed to be nice.
Yeah, but how could you ever
like? I want to hear the fucking wide receiver coach say this. I want to see Matt Rule say this. I don't want to hear. Look, Christian McCaffrey's a running back who doesn't hang. It's not like they're catching him. Sam Darnold and Terrace Marshall have been working off on the off season.
I don't know. I actually don't know what they know. I know that two people said it about him. And by the way, if you're on a team with someone, like, okay, Tony, let's say you're the new guy and you just get drafted last year or year before or whatever. And I see you're on the team and you're just kind of lollygagging, not really doing shit, kind of basic. Well, I'm not going to then go out of my way in a media press conference to give you a bunch of credit that you're not earning, especially when you know that there are so many other Panther players that are working their ass off to get prepared. Like, why would you just make that up?
Cody is sleight of handing everything. Cody has been sitting here telling us Terrace Marshall Jr. was the fucking best thing since sliced bread. That's
what it is. You just
so
don't
now you're trying to
Terrace
say this.
Marshall.
He was lollygagging last year and he shows up this year and all of a sudden he looks like he's this. Christian McCaffrey is just going to say nice things about everything right now. I don't care. And I'm not saying, look, is Terrace Marshall Jr. had a big catch in practice today and then did a little dance. He looks happy out there. We saw, yes, he can fucking run now, maybe. That is a big leap. If you were in crutches all last year or in a boot and now you can run down the field, that is a massive leap. But I would give you another parallel to this conversation here is I work at a college where a lot of people don't teach for the summer. And Terrace Marshall Jr. could have been like a first-year teacher last year. We have this event, convocation, where we all got to go on the first day. And the president speaks to us and they have some guest speakers. And it's like where the whole college gets together. And then we break off into where it's basically minicamp for the faculty. Right. If a first year teacher who is all going to struggle and not be the greatest teacher on campus for the first year ever, right? But they could be a good teacher, a good prospect. Like you see a lot of good things out of them. On day one, I haven't seen them in 4 months and I didn't work out with them. I didn't do nothing over the summer. Like, I can't, I mean, like, me just saying, like, yeah, I think they're going to do a good job. Like, I could say that, but what evidence is that really based off of? Is it based off of this one? You know, Tony, I'm just taking this with a grain of salt. Look, I want Terrace Marshall Jr. to be fucking awesome, but like, let's not act like.
I don't think you do, man. I mean,
I do. I will. I hope he is. I hope he. No, I don't want him to be bad, but come on. But look, that's like me saying.
Like, let's say I came out and I gave Kelvin Benjamin a bunch of props and he's on the team, right? And I know he's lazy and fucking eating biscuits and shit and not doing his job, not training and working out. Okay,
How do you know that if you ain't seen him in 4
why
months?
am I then going to go into the media and then present a false narrative of this player that I know he's not going to be able to live up to?
Is it a false narrative, or did he say one fucking 3 words about the dude that just weren't mean?
Or
it's not it's not like writing a paper on Terrace Marshall.
Or he
Didn't bring
stuff
you
like
know what
this.
is? Do you think here is the way to really solve this? And I did not watch Christian McCaffrey's press conference. Did they bring up Terrace Marshall Jr. or did he?
Dude, I saw the clip. I didn't even.
Did he bring it up or did they?
I remember seeing
like if we were talking and we were
it.
just, and then he was like, "Oh, and yeah, and like,
But
man,
dude,
guys like Terrace
nitpicking
Marshall."
now.
No,
You're nitpicking. Why does it matter who brought it up first? They were asked about. I think the reporter asked him about Terrace Marshall, but does that
then
change
this
anything?
is what else is he gonna say? Oh, is that I don't know? Like, I mean, well, fuck it, bullshit. I'm not gonna get overly excited about. I'm saying this is I'm excited about Terrace Marshall Jr. because of Terrace Marshall Jr., not because of what fucking Christian McCaffrey said. That's my point.
Is it outside of the realm of possibility though that he could have seen this? I mean, this is one play that I have up on screen right now. But maybe he has looked really good in practice. And if he has looked really good in practice, by the way, Dante Jackson in coverage on this thing.
Also, Sam Darnold throwing the dimes.
Yeah, I know, do Sammy Dimes, man. So don't need Baker Mayfield. But the point is that if he's been looking good, if he's been putting in the work, and dude, by the way, you can look at him. He is a big dude. Like, we need to utilize this guy more. We need that type of threat. He's a 4.4 runner. He's a big, strong guy. We need this guy on our
Maybe
team
we should
right
move him
now,
to tight end.
Oh, speaking of, Devin Funchess was
Dizzle.
signed by the
Perfect
Detroit
transition.
Lions, right?
Yes, signed as a tight end to the Detroit
First
Lions.
time I've seen him officially listed as a tight end.
Yeah.
Since college, anyway.
I think it makes sense, you know, when you look at his body type and everything. I think he's going to have a better chance at being a successful tight end than a wide receiver in this league. So I think hopefully those things are going to be looking up for him. But unfortunately, he's having to sign with a team like the Lions, who may or may not be a good team this year. He's been like he's gone to so many different places and just gotten injured within the first like either training camp or the first game. Like he left here, went to the Colts, he got injured. Left there, went to the Green Bay Packers, got injured. And then he's just like, I haven't
Caught
heard
a football out of a helicopter or airplane.
Yep.
Did some stunt like that.
Yep.
Favorite food?
Salad.
Caesar salad. Did y'all remember that? Did y'all remember when we had the what was the show called that I called here on the podcast? The Panther, the season confidential thing when they showed the whole thing on Amazon.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
the All or Nothing.
All or Nothing. There
and
it
then
is.
he wanted to learn how to cook.
Do you remember when Devin Funchess during that Detroit game just imploded?
Oh, yeah.
And
that's his hometown, by the way. That's his hometown.
And
that's
that's why the
he had a
story
big game.
That's why the story was so big, because he went back home and
that's
dude,
like what ruined his career, actually.
he dropped
it was that game.
He dropped every single thing that came his way in that game, man. Y'all made fun of Robbie for drops. Bro, we were pulling fun over hot coals when he was dropping those passes, man.
Yep.
That was
rough.
He was but the funny thing is, I'm pretty sure the year before he lit it up though in Detroit. Like he had a really good game the year before in Detroit. And I remember that was like another one of those things, and he came and he just shit the bed.
Yeah, but one that Cam Newton threw a dime to him in the back of the
He
end
had like
zone.
8 drops in that game or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a crazy dude. He had a meltdown. He had an absolute and by the way, like I don't want to, he was also going through some family troubles that was documented on All or Nothing as well. I think he had lost a family member. So again, you have those games, but then it was also compounded by that same year that we went to the playoffs in the Superdome. Funchess had many opportunities to come down with some touchdown passes, and it just wouldn't go up and get the ball. Now he was hurt, but dude, you're in the playoffs, man. Put your body on the line.
He was always
don't be
soft.
out there.
That was his problem. He's always a little soft as
a
player.
Diet of salad.
Soft for his size. Expect? You know, it's like as a big mean, you know, it's like you expect them to be big and physical. He was soft. All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey, I just want to know, why does Cody know not an absolute fucking thing about football? I'm watching today's podcast, and all he's doing is slandering Baker Mayfield and sucking off Sam Darnold and Matt Corral. All right? I would like to have a conversation with Cody so I could personally tell him he doesn't know a fucking thing about football.
Yo. All right, next call.
Thanks, pal.
Hey, guys. It's Chuck from Elizabeth City.
I'm still right.
AKA Carolina sports guy. You know, guys, all this talk about Baker Mayfield is so regurgitated. I mean, he needs to go and ship to Seattle. And do I feel he's better than Darnold? Barely, but yes. But it's just not worth bringing all these quarterbacks in it. Give Corral a chance. He doesn't have to start. Roll with Darnold for the 1 year. Leave this situation of Baker Mayfield alone. If this organization spent as much time trying to sign a linebacker worth a damn, trying to uncover every stone to trade for a top-notch linebacker, I'd feel a whole lot better about our roster and our starting 11 on offense and defense. But how many quarterbacks can get in a game at one time, guys? I just get so tired. It's just like keeping us in the news, and it's all for naught because you can't get but one guy on the field at a time. So let's find the linebacker.
Yeah, great call, man. Our linebacking core is something that we've all been really concerned about for a long time now. But yeah, and to your point, Chuck, that's what I've been saying, that this just muddies the water. Only one quarterback is going to see the field. So what? Is it going to be Baker Mayfield and then Sam Darnold? So what, Sam Darnold is just the backup now? Okay, I mean, fine, maybe. My biggest issue is I want to see Matt Corral. I don't want to wait too long to see Matt Corral. I feel like Baker Mayfield gets in the way of that. And I feel like if you trade for Baker Mayfield, unless this next season is absolutely terrible with Baker as the starter, in which case Matt Rule gets fired anyway. But under those circumstances, if we're trading for Baker, that's our quarterback for the foreseeable future. We have traded for Baker Mayfield, and that's now our quarterback. Not Sam Darnold. It's not going to be Matt Corral. Even in 2 years, it's going to be Baker Mayfield. And it's the same mediocre bullshit that we've been dealing with. And by the way, to all my critics, you can get in the calls all you want. Everything I've spoken about Baker Mayfield is 100% the truth. He is not an elite quarterback. Yes, he went to the playoffs, but he didn't take the Browns to the playoffs. It was a part of a team that went to the playoffs. Okay? Other quarterbacks have taken a team to the playoffs. Baker Mayfield is not one of those dudes. There's a reason why Odell Beckham Jr. had his father make a highlight reel of Baker not being able to get him the football just to get him out of Cleveland, man. Robbie Anderson doesn't want to play with this dude. Everyone is shouting to their lungs what should be apparent for everyone. Baker Mayfield is never going to be the answer for the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
Point blank.
I will say that Baker Mayfield's stats went up significantly when Odell Beckham left. Just saying.
But what's going to happen when he's targeting DJ Moore religiously, regardless of if he's double covered?
I'm not fighting for him. I'm just laying facts out there.
Carolina is going to target DJ Moore religiously. Sorry, everybody does it. That's what's going to happen until we're really, really good. Yeah. All right, next call. I heard that one. This one.
Hey, Cody, it's your long-lost brother. I mean, I just wanted to call in and say, can you stop stealing my dance moves, bruh? Like, come on, man. You know that's my moves.
Why are you sober?
And then you show videos of me and saying it's you. That's not cool. You know, it's just, come on, man, grow up. Grow up.
He's sober.
And it's just weird hearing you talk about negative stuff about Baker when we both know at the last reunion you were the biggest Baker fan. That's all you talk about. Baker.
Calling you out, man.
And then you started to do a dance, and I'm like, yo, bro, that's my moves. Why you stealing my moves? Anyway, peace.
Yeah, I jacked your moves. What you going to do about it? Nothing.
Next call.
Nothing. I'm not bringing food to the family reunion anymore. How about that?
It's 1 minute and 47.
You was wanting to eat my bomb ass mac and cheese. Well, now you're not. How about that?
All right. Yeah, let's bring the video back. Let's bring the video back. The $1.99, which Google will take like 40% of. That's why you can also use Cash App and PayPal too. That will cover the monetization, and if we get demonetized alone, because that's what we would make off of the views we get, probably $1.
We could always add the video to the intro.
Like, would it be, man? But see, then are we gonna just parody ourselves entirely? So then it would be like from Tony to laundry guy to Cody dancing guy. Like, would it be like, would our intro be like one of those old 80s sitcoms where it's like Tony, like I'm like ironing the starching. It's like we're the gay couple that lives together. I'm starching Cody's shirt for when he comes home, dancing in the door like this.
Yeah, I'm just dancing.
Oh, I can work up something good.
My shirt.
Oh, imagine me being the laundry guy, getting the stain out, and then him dancing and like, oh, thank you.
Oh man, I got a great idea. Okay.
He said that dude's fatter than Cody. I don't know, Candace. You ain't seen me lately, bro. I don't know.
That guy looks great, dude. I don't know what y'all are. He's like getting it, bro. Like if any of us walked out onto the dance floor, did that, and look, like we would be owning this. He's owning that bitch. I think he got white boots on too, white cowboy boots.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wish I could dance like that.
Like I got no problems with this guy. He's cooler than Matt Rule. He's cooler than Sam Darnold.
That's not hard. That's not setting the bar very high.
Why do I feel like I get the feeling this?
I would say I'm cooler than Matt Rule. He got $64 million in the bank. I would be like this: is if I was broke like my ass and could dance like this or walk across Matt Rule's face like that, like I would still be like, you got $64 million, but can you do this?
I mean, I'm not mad at it, man. When you have a nice head of hair like that, sometimes you just gotta let the world see it, man. Let the wind touch that thing. Let it caress you. You know what I'm saying?
This bug is killing.
Shout out to my homeboy. Shout out to my homeboy out there, you know, cutting a rug. And bro, man, you know he's with the ladies, man. Like this dude, he gets it. He's doing things.
Gets it. Look, we're turning you around. Look, you turn the corner.
I mean, it's not me, but you know.
Yes, it is. It's gonna be you when Greg gets done with it.
Yep.
I really do want to see my head on this dude's body and Tony's head on the laundry guy's body. Dude, that is gonna, when we do that, that's gonna be like the best episode of this podcast ever.
It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be fun.
And this was a good episode. We've got a little bit. Well, those are the calls right now. We've been through the calls. We've been through the news. We've done all the news. I don't really think we've missed much of anything to talk about. That hasn't been.
So this is the dance
yet.
we're gonna do once we're able to get out early for once.
Or when we get Baker Mayfield. Is this the get Baker Mayfield dance, or is this the?
Hey.
If we get Baker Mayfield, I'm doing this dance from right off a cliff.
How about this? Is that first of all, Greg's making this video, and then if we get Baker Mayfield, there's making another video like this, and it's Baker Mayfield with him doing something like this has legs. Yeah. This has legs. There's a lot of irony there. That's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night check out the latest Panthers news and opinions chopped up by the fans, for the fans. It's just us reacting. You know what you find out is that's what they're doing. That's what we're doing. That's what you're doing. just reacting, staying in tune, working together, locking arms, keeping our ear to the ground. All we do is this is 90% of the show is people tweeting me and messaging me the news. And they're like, you seen this? Boom, boom. Like they're messaging me and they're helping me build this show. You're a part of the show down there in the chat room. You are the show. You're the show in the calls at 252-228-5098. Leave a review on Spotify. Leave a review on iTunes. Leave a review wherever you get your podcast. One cool thing that I do is like, I just share stuff that I'm listening to because I know like, hey, if I'm not going to give them money, the least I can do is give them a share. I've been listening to the Rewatchables podcast, Bill Simmons and from The Ringer, and they watch old 80s, 90s movies or just good movies. It's been great for me. Like I went on a road trip, downloaded a couple, watched those movies when I got there, listened to them on the way back. I didn't give them no money. What I did do is message Bill Simmons and share his podcast and being like, hey, did you notice one of the ones that I listened to was Lethal Weapon, I watched both Lethal Weapon 1 and 2 this past week and part of 3. Lethal Weapon 2 in their mind is the better one. I like Lethal Weapon 1 the most. But it's less comedic and more serious. So they like the kind of blockbuster nature of 2. But one of the things that was interesting, I messaged him about when I shared the link to his show is did you notice that Lethal Weapon 2 was all about apartheid in South Africa? Like those were these South African bad guys. In Lethal Weapon 1, there was a bumper sticker on the Murtaugh family fridge that said Free South Africa. So I was like, hey, look at this. They're already setting it up in Lethal Weapon 1. I didn't give them no money. I just gave them a share. That's it. That's what I ask you to do for us. Share the show. And right now I'm asking my co-hosts to share their ice up picks.
Yeah, let's do these ice up picks. So I guess I'll just I'll go first here. So basically this video kind of went viral on
you dancing.
No, not that viral. This video went viral of this girl, and she's working out, and she's at the gym, and she claims that the dudes behind her are like perving on
membership.
All right, let's see it. Take these comments down. We'll see everything.
Okay, so she's.
So wait a second. They're trying to set the perv up already. Why are they already zooming in?
That's what I'm saying. They're like, and then she says, "Do you need something?" Like he looked over there for a second, and then she calls him out, like implying that he was doing something to her.
Take your cankles somewhere else, girl. Look at those calves.
And then she gets like mad at him because he starts to like
just because somebody glances at you briefly when taking.
I don't know who this asshole is, but
He
basically
does
the
this
guy.
he's about to make your point though.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know what he was gonna say. I didn't want to take the chance. But my thing is like, dude, like especially in today's world where harassment is a big deal. Like when you do shit like this, it kind of like it makes people care less and less about real times when guys are actually being
Amber Heard
dicks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you doing this, like you didn't save some woman from being hit on. They weren't trying to hit on you. If anything, the personal trainer was trying to look at what the guy he was training was looking at in the mirror. So it's like, come on, man. It's
and
so
they were
dumb.
videoing it, making a big fucking deal out of it. I'm going to touch into some dangerous waters here. And I don't want this to be, what do they call it when you shame the victim of like a sexual crime or something?
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like
shaming.
victim shaming. I don't want to walk into that. But I think there is like a difference between a glance, an overt action, something like this. But we have to recognize a little bit. And I'm not saying that you're welcoming like harassment.
Right.
But you are calling for attention.
Yeah. But and
The
then
way
to put
you
it on-
dress, the way you behave, the way you put shit on the internet, stuff like this is you are begging the outfit. And I'm not saying, look, is you can go work out and you shouldn't feel unsafe. You could wear whatever. I guess I should be able to wear a Speedo into the gym and no one gawk.
Well,
But if I walk into the fucking gym and wearing a Speedo with my white ass legs with this and that, people are going to be like, oh, he wanted us to laugh
to
at
look
him.
at him. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is, I do think you're right, is that like we have to at this point see what the intent of shit is. And I'm not saying she wants people to gawk at her, but she certainly dressed like that at the gym does not want people to look away.
Right.
And by the way, there's also videos of her like showing
Fuck
her
that
booty
bitch.
in tight pants.
Fuck
And
her.
shit.
Look at those calves and those ankles.
and
She
one-
got
and one
cankles,
last-
bro. Fuck her.
And hey, one last thing too about it is that you don't know this guy, and now you're going to put him on blast on the internet.
Right.
Like you're going to put him out to all of your followers as some dirty pervert when you don't even fucking know this guy.
That and the fact that, let's be real, she is
Show it
literally
again, Cody.
filming
Show it
herself.
one more time. Look at how terrible it is.
Well,
and not how she's dressed, but just look at the whole situation. The whole situation is meant to be, what are they? It's like entrapment.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If he's a trainer there, okay, a person in general, but if he's a trainer there, then I assume he probably works there. And if so, he has, I mean, you're going to look around. I'd assume it's probably part of his job to at least look around the gym.
I've been looking at girls the whole time, my whole life.
All he did was look that direction.
I know.
You know?
Like, I mean, did they
Like-
whistle something? Did they?
That's the thing. I don't know.
mean,
Did
they
he
didn't even
say
gawk,
something? Because we
dude.
don't know. I couldn't tell. If he said something, then okay, I can see her.
I
getting
would
upset,
have
but I
like
don't
he
know if
needs
did
to
or not.
look up, and
Yeah.
when they say something, be like, "Yeah, we are looking at this. Is how do you have such a good ass and such terrible fucking calves?"
Well, and by the way, the guy in the text right here, and it shows it in the original video. She goes, training gets caught on camera being a pervert, and when I stand up for myself, he threatens to call the police and revoke my membership. Which, by the way, if he works there and he feels like you're causing
Look,
a
nobody's
scene,
looking. What is this dude? The guy that's sitting at the look, and he glances over. Actually, makes kind of an ugly face.
yeah,
And it
so
couldn't
look,
have been more than
they're
a second. She
talking.
still hasn't got her shirt off.
Yeah, but you see
Yeah.
them talking in the background. He's talking to the guy doing the bench looking thing.
They could be saying, "Why are those people filming us?"
Not to mention, that's a very narrow lens you're looking at there. That's probably a very wide wall. He could be looking at anything near that area on that side
This
of the
is
wall. you know?
TikTok attention seeking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That's all it
100%.
is.
That's the only reason
TikTok.
she's filming it anyway. Like, why else
Yeah.
have the camera up here?
Look, she's not even going to do an exercise. What fucking exercise is she about to do? Is she going to do squats? Is that what she's going to do? All she has done is take off her shirt and reveal more and fixed her bra. And then yelled at the guy immediately.
Oh, she was looking immediately for that. Like,
It wasn't even. She didn't even do a rep, let alone enough reps to necessitate an exercise.
Yeah, or somebody gawking at her. Yeah.
Irritating, dude.
That was a Wayne's World.
But yeah, to her and to all women like this, again, man, like you just make it hard for other women when they actually have a legitimate case of dudes being fucking weirdo perverts at the gym. Like, come on, dude, it's so dumb. I suck.
Yeah, you want to see the weirdo perverts? You better be careful walking into the men's room, the men's fucking dressing room at those types of gyms.
Yeah.
God. All right. Who's got something else?
I'll knock mine out real quick. Look, I've been going real political with mine the last few weeks, and Tony, I'm kind of at the point where you were saying you were at when made you kind of start this podcast. Is like I'm just so tired of arguing with people about stuff. Because the thing is, I'm never going to change anybody's political view.
Never
on things.
Doesn't work.
Okay, and it's very hard to find somebody to have a healthy conversation with. You know, very few people are open to listening to ideas. So I'm going to get away from political stuff this week because I just don't feel like going down that road, and it's just tiring. I just tell everybody, read the whole article and vote. Find somebody you believe in and vote. That's all I can say. I'm going to go, and I may have done this before. I'm going to ice up commentators, sports commentators, and all these podcasts and shows I listen to that are hyping up these USFL players. Okay.
Did you see the guy spit his fucking wisdom tooth out though?
I didn't. No, I have not watched
Cody,
one
can you pull
single
that
snap
up?
of USFL. Not
Did
one
you
single
see it,
snap.
Cody?
And
What is it?
The USFL guy. Go ahead. I want you to go with the ice up pick, but a guy got hit, the head hit, and he fucking coughed his teeth up.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go with your pick.
Well,
I want you to see this.
I
good,
have
too.
no doubt that some of these players are decent players, okay? But I'm so tired of seeing these players make spectacular plays against other
Walker.
mediocre players, and
PJ
these analysts being like, they're gonna make it in the NFL. They're gonna be on somebody's team, and then they mention the 4 teams they've been on in the last 4 years. Well, there's a reason that most of these players have been in the NFL. They're not on that level. I'm so tired of hearing. Wasn't PJ Walker the number 1 quarterback in the first year league? And we picked him up?
It was the AFL, I think.
Was
or-
XFL.
Was he
No, it wasn't the
XFL?
XFL.
Yeah, and then they had there was another one too, but you're right. He might have been XFL. But there were
Heineke
some
as well.
guys, Gary Gilbert, some that we had that was a Panther that went to the AFL was real good.
Heineke.
So you're right. We've seen this before.
It's just
We've seen it.
it's minor. It's players who are not quite on that professional level, but are very good playing against other players of their level.
Right.
You know, you're a superstar on this level, just not at the next one. So I'm just so tired of hearing all these. Like, I like seeing the plays.
Look at
but I
this
have not
shit, Greg.
watched a game.
Greg, look at this shit. This shit is crazy.
watch
This is
this.
their advertisement for their they tweeted this out. The boom.
Damn.
This mug get all right. Wait. So he gets rocked, head hit. Like this guy's. I mean, this is a flag in the NFL.
And spits
he
out 2 teeth.
Damn.
And then afterwards, he goes, "Oh, they were just my wisdom teeth." So he's like, "You did me a favor. I didn't have to get my wisdom teeth removed."
Well,
how did that, man? Imagine this. Imagine the head hit you have to take to knock your
knock
fucking
teeth out.
wisdom teeth out. The
And
ones
get up
back
and-
here by your temple. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I can understand you get hit like a hockey player that get hit in the face. You know what I'm saying? They get the front teeth. But to get the molars knocked out, you got to get fucking rocked, bro.
Yeah.
And the wisdom teeth, them mugs, they got to dig in there to get them. You ain't no pulling no wisdom. You know,
The surgery.
well, you
hell
can't
yeah.
pull some of them. That shit was crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And the best part about it is that what's the name of the league, Greg?
USFL.
They're the ones that tweeted that out.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, big hit in there. It's like, hey, watch us.
Yeah.
Watch us. Is that the NFL's like, oh God, we've paid $1 bazillion to the Concussion Foundation for hits just like that.
No. And my thing is, I'm not knocking the USFL. I haven't watched a single game, and I should, because it probably is fun football to watch. I just think that the USFL should be its own thing, and people should stop trying to say that these players who have already been in the league, the majority of them, and not made it, are ready to go in the league, and they're going to be something in the league, because they're not. They've already proven that. So,
well, they might.
all
I mean,
those
maybe
sports-
you're gonna find
They
one.
may.
Jim. Have you watched
right.
The Hustle yet?
Oh my gosh, yes! What a great movie.
Man, I liked it way more than I expected.
Yeah.
Same, dude. I think it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
best movie Adam Sandler's been in a very long time.
It's not as good as Love and Basketball, but it's one of the best basketball movies ever made.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. It was kind of like what was that movie with Shaq and Penny Hardaway and the God, who was
Shazam?
it? Blue Chips? No, not Shazam.
I think
Blue Chips.
I think that's it. Yeah.
It was kind of like that, because it kind of gave you a little bit of the business inside. It gave you the cool angle. I loved it. CK, you got a ice up pick for us?
Yeah, mine. I would give the video or the picture, but I'm just going to tell you what it is. I've become increasingly more irritated with anybody who. So I'll kind of give you the background. My wife's family is extremely conservative. You know, bleeds red, right?
Okay.
And it. So I'm in their group chat, and I don't want to be in there. I hate being in their group chat because it's
I
just
hate a
filled
group
with
chat. No
ignorance.
offense, guys. They're
Yeah.
exhausting, aren't they?
Well, it is, but also you just like, especially when it's a family one like that, you just have a bunch of people that are in an echo chamber.
It's stressful.
just talking about all the like, just basically perpetuating all the like negative things and all the stereotypes you hear about Republicans, right? And so like her grandfather has this flag that he flies out on his yard that says Joe and the hoe gotta go, right? and
it's terrible. It's so ridiculous. I've seen multiple ones of these.
Right.
This is like F the president.
Right. I mean, and it happened with Trump in
so
office
far
too,
that is
right?
ridiculous.
It is, and it's so problematic. And like when you look at it at its surface, right? It's vulgar. Like it's just enough to make you just like really. And these are like senior citizens, right? These are the people that were
right.
Raised,
They're the people that are telling us
right.
that the generation that is
Right.
now is the worst generation ever, and they're the best.
Right.
But they're flying the fuck Biden flag.
Right. I mean, and that, like, listen, I mean, you can have your political beliefs, and I have no problem with that. And I'm not saying I don't lean more that direction. There are a lot of things I do lean in a more conservative factor. But for the most part, I am like just straight in the middle because I am so tired of the labels. But like, I cannot stand when you have a different belief than somebody else. The idea of go ahead and remove me from your friends list if you believe in this, right? Like, why can't it be like, hey, you don't like this, I don't like this, but we can go get a beer, right?
Exactly.
Like there's no fucking problem with that. Like there's
the flag should say, I do not support blah blah blah.
Right. Exactly.
It should have been like that for Trump. It should be like that for Biden. It should be like, what is the message you're sending to your children?
Right. I'm like, and my wife, like, and my wife wants to be is by like just wanting to make, like give my grandson the opportunity to get to know us. I'm just like, I don't want my grandson around him. Like I don't. Because the dude's ignorant, like ignorant to where like he has no problem expressing his distaste for people that are of a different kind than him. Right. If you catch my drift, and I'm just like, I'm not dealing with it.
I know.
Period.
It's real,
right?
It's real,
and it's just like it's getting to a point where I'm getting like, I guess in my age, I know that I'm getting older, and I know they say you get more conservative the older you get. I feel like I'm getting the opposite because I'm just seeing such hatred on both sides of this whole thing. And
well, you're actually not getting the opposite. You're becoming more disaffected,
right?
You're not becoming more liberal necessarily. You're just becoming more anti,
right? And so, like, my whole thing is, if you're somebody who has this mindset that if you don't believe in what I believe, you're like you're go fuck off, right? You're you can go suck a dick. Your mom sucks, every cock in the house, right? Like that doesn't just being that type of person who's that vulgar, who wants to be able to just yell at other people because they don't believe in what you believe is just so irritating, and it's exhausting. And quite honestly, it's a lesson that you're teaching a generation of people that that's going to end to the demise of the entire democratic process in the United States. Anyway, maybe that's a bit aggressive, but that's just it's gotten to that point where I'm just so fed up with it. So if you're one of those people, ice up.
Well, I think this is, and sorry, I like to comment just because I'm the professor. And I like to be involved in these discussions, but when your guy is in office, you want people to respect them and be diplomatic and shit like this about it. And then when it's not your guy or gal in office, you feel like you can, as this Olive, I saw this comment earlier. Olive, teach your kids, don't protect them.
Right.
Right. Like I want to, I'm not trying to shelter my kids to a degree where I don't want them to understand the world, but don't we on this very podcast sometimes fret with the language? And then when Noah and Connor call in, we go, wait a second, is like, can we have these same discussions in a more mature way where I could tell Noah and Connor and this and that I don't like Sam Darnold, but I don't have to make references to blah, 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 blah. And so that's my thing is I was actually a lot easier on a guy that people were very hard on in Donald Trump than most people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like there was things I didn't support that he did. I didn't support his, actually it was his vulgarity that I had the big problem with. Mm-hmm. It was just the example of the way the language was. A lot of the policy and the hardball in China, and there's some cool things that like, I thought that he was going to be horrible at foreign policy, and he actually won foreign policy. So like, it was just the vulgarity of Trump that was really not just, but that was a problem for me. Is like I don't want to teach my kids to talk to people like that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's an example of this: is there's a watering hole I go to, and there's a bouncer there, and he was working. He was not working one day. I don't like this guy, by the way. He was not working, but he was drinking at the bar. He was like, "I just got my fuck Joe Biden flag," like he was bragging about it. And I didn't say I was not. I was like, I'm not going to talk about this shit. Not going to talk about. Like I refuse. I don't give a fuck. And like he was like trying to egg a conversation on. He's like, but I didn't hang it up because I live around a bunch of black people. I was scared. And I was like, in my head, I was just thinking, well, doesn't that fucking tell you something? That like you're embarrassed to do what you wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like just
But
put
there is a
I
double
don't support
standard,
Joe
though, is there
Biden.
not?
Just put no Biden.
But and I
No
think, and
Biden,
listen,
or you know what I'm saying? But like to go, it was so far over the crest that you become the asshole. Like you might even have a good reason to not like Joe. There's plenty of reasons to not like Joe Biden and the Democrats. There's a ton of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're teaching the message of that, how about this? Is that when George Bush was like, we want to, at least I want to teach my kids to respect people that have different opinions than them, to not agree with them, to not jump off the bridge with them, but to not lash out and be a complete dick.
Right.
I want to teach my kids different. And you know what? Is let other people do that. But that's just not a quality that we should be I want to endorse. So I'm with you, ZK.
But I want to say one thing on this, though. Like, again, you can say that there was a major difference between Trump and Biden, but people did not have a problem showing their disdain for Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Or having signs that said, fuck Donald Trump.
100%.
And this and that. And then, like,
but I don't even know if I saw a bunch of fuck Trump. It was just like, no Trump.
But CK's parents, like, I get it. They're coming at it from, like, the wrong kind of way to look at it.
Uncle.
But I think that
even
people who don't follow politics are probably on board with the fuck Joe Biden thing at this point. Inflation's higher than it's been in 40 years, and gas prices in America have never been this high. People already don't want Joe Biden to run again for president in 2024. They know that he's going to lose. It used to be the thing of conspiracy to say, oh, Joe Biden's old and out of his mind, and people are just being mean to him. No, he's literally an old man who's 78, 79 years old in the twilight of his life, and everybody's done with him, man.
All good criticisms, but you don't have to go to the most debased language.
To be quite honest,
say this is that Biden's too old. Vote for something new.
Right.
You're right, but I think it also depends on how passionate you are about the thing. I mean, Tony, things that make us react like that are what we're passionate about, right? And some people may be extremely passionate about the fact that they have to pay $6 at the pump, and that inflation.
That's not the president that does that shit.
But why
it's
is
his
it
policy?
Like it should be like
it's his job to create policy.
Oh wait,
that
fuck
fixes
the
these
money
problems.
that I accepted over the last 2 years that then made the money not worth shit. Like no, it's just too name calling. Let's make the subject have some more depth than just name calling.
I agree with you on that. You shouldn't be a person who just mad at those two things. But if you're deeply into politics, if it's one of your passions and this is something you feel, I feel like it's something you might now posting
you
it
have
as
kids.
You have
kids, right?
Saying it and posting it as a sign are two different things, though.
You have kids,
I'll give
right?
you that. Yes, I do.
You have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Would you you like? All right. So are you passionate about Marvel or DC?
Yeah, a little bit.
Which one are you
DC.
passionate?
DC.
You like DC or hate DC?
I like DC more. Yes.
So would you put a sign like a flag outside your house that said "fuck Marvel"? And you're passionate about it, but you let your kids walk by? Would you let that? Would you, or you just say this? Would you not just try to convince your kids that DC's better?
No. I agree with what you're saying, but my point is, what I'm trying to say is, there's a difference there because Marvel's not doing anything to fuck me over. Marvel's not making my
that's
life
some
harder
bullshit.
every
They're
day.
sucking money out of us for them as much as goddamn. They've sucked more money out of you than the federal
But
government.
they're trying to
has.
deliver
but
good content. To
You're
you.
right. That was good.
I
was
hear
like, wait a
what-
second,
I
what are you
hear
talking about? But you know what? You're probably close. You're probably close to
Listen,
being right.
I hear what
that,
Greg is
right
trying
on
to say,
that.
though. When you're involved in it and you feel like you have a right enough reason to be able to feel some type of way, it doesn't matter what kind of politician you are, if you're the president or not. If somebody feels like you're doing a job that's worthy of someone having a flag that says fuck someone, it's not my style. But if someone feels that vehemently about it, they got the right to do it. It might
Cody,
not be the best way, but
were you not slightly upset when people came on this phone call and told you didn't know fucking shit about football?
do you think I give a fuck about these?
I mean,
losers
a
talking
little
shit
bit. In
about
your
me?
heart of hearts, would
No.
you call
my-
in and tell somebody that? What I'm saying is
And tell
this:
them what?
is that
Hold on.
I fully agree with people having an opinion, a position, this and that. But can we not? We just went from a place. We were just had 2 ice up picks ago where we weren't even trying to convince anybody of anything. All I'm saying is this: is like you don't gotta fucking call. Like I could just tell you a million reasons why Biden's policy sucks, but I don't have to call him a child molester.
You're right.
Or the vice president, who,
Yeah.
by the way,
Yeah,
like
you're
we
right.
talk about the vice president, like the whole point of this is like Joe and the it's really nice to Joe Biden on this flag. Joe and the hoe, right? Like
Right. It's like, oh,
like-
by the way, this poor black woman who's the first fucking black vice president and first woman vice president.
but also the most absentee, like you don't hear from her at all of what anything she's done, right? Joe Biden had
Did
a more
fucking fuck with Pence a lot though.
Joe Biden had a more active vice presidency than Camilla does, right? Let's be real about it. And so like the reality is throwing, like putting that into perspective, like that's just the irritation to me. Is there is no reason to bring in something that you know obviously you probably read on the internet that may or may not be true about an affair she had or something like that to get her to where she's at, right? There's
Don't
a lot of
care.
this stuff that comes into
Don't
play.
give a fuck.
Right.
Don't give a fuck. Every
Exactly.
person in the world goes through shit like no.
Exactly.
Don't care
But
about your
those
policy.
exact same people are the ones who will say nothing about the Donald Trump Stormy Daniels stuff. The grab her right by the right. Like the reality is like this.
Exactly.
Like, that's the part that I'm talking about. Is it so? It's the problem that I have with it is it's so hypocritical. Like if you're somebody who has felt this way, fuck Joe Biden. You were pissed off that these people were saying the exact same shit about Trump, right?
Yes.
Every single
They
one of you that
fucking
have
went
had that
nuts.
mindset.
They went nuts on Obama when he didn't wear the fucking American flag pin on his
right
suit. You know what I'm saying? Like, is again, if it's your guy, you're gonna fucking defend him to the end. If it's the opposite, I just don't like the vulgarity.
Right.
I get that. You're right.
Like I mean, here's the
let's
thing.
just have a more developed, sophisticated conversation.
The parties, here's the thing, the parties can be evil. We don't have to be, right? Like that's the thing, is we don't have to be these people who like we can continue to live a life like here. What do they say, right? If everybody just starts to take an eye for an eye, right, and the whole world will be blind, right? That's the avenue that we're going. Like that's what's happening. It just continues to get worse and worse. The idea of just resorting to name calling and like this really clever way of saying fuck Joe Biden, which is let's go Brandon. Like this was such a clever way to get a code out there. Like it's not fucking clever. It's so stupid.
Actually, that's actually kind of funny because it was very organic. Sea Dog says keep politics off the show. It's the ice up picks right now. We get to do whatever we want during the ice up picks. We went 2.5 hours,
And we're also not taking either side. I think we're all
actually,
kind of-
yeah. I feel like we're really being cool on this. This is like anti-political,
right? But anyway, yeah, ice up.
Here is this, and one other thing is somebody said this is that they're like the hoe. That's the problem, and there might be saying this sarcastically. Who knows? Like what the context? I can't read
No,
it.
he's not. He was saying that there's connotation for African Americans, especially women, being called.
Here's
like,
my
hoes
thing:
and
is
shit.
this in the John Adams, who was our first vice president? He said this. He said, "In my country's infinite wisdom, they found the most insignificant position for me." He recognized that the vice president John Adams sat in there. John Adams loved to argue. He loved to argue like he was a debater. He was a master debater. He wanted to be, he was involved, Continental Congress, all this shit. He got elected to a position that the only thing you did was sit and wait for the Senate to have a tie. Like it is the most insignificant. It's a position. It's like the backup quarterback on the team that likely will not have the quarterback get injured. What I'm saying is this: is you cannot say that Camilla's the problem. She's like insignificant in this. It's like, and by the way, her having affairs would only be better if you're an anti-Biden person, because that means she's less involved in policy. She's busy out there fucking. Like, I don't even get it. I don't even get it. Like,
I'm just to the point where I hate them all. I think they're all liars. I think that people vote for them and they think that there's a difference between these people. They all tell you that they're different. They all serve the same fucking masters. That's what everybody needs to come away with.
No, you know what? The problem is this, is that the voter, the electorate is not more sophisticated. If we were more sophisticated, they would be more sophisticated.
That's it. Yeah. I agree with you right there, Tony, what you're saying, because Cody, I get what you're saying, Cody, but I don't want to say that, because saying that means that the system is broken.
We allow
saying that
this.
means there's no solution. And that there is a solution, because
no, we allow this.
But
we allow
they work for us.
Think she's a hoe, we allow all this to happen. If we were cooler people, we would have cooler people leading us.
Yeah.
No, but we talk about change until it's time to enact it, and then we vote for the same old establishment shills that have been around forever and expect different shit. Hey, that's funny. It's kind of like the Panthers doing the same old shit over and over and expecting different results. Like, yeah, you're gonna continue to get the same shit if you're voting for the same establishment shills. But I don't know.
The water is like, you can't separate the water from the reservoir. You know, it's like the water that comes out of your faucet is the water that comes from the reservoir. So you want our politicians to be better. You want our society be better. We all have to be better.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if it's like, we allow all this fucking shit to happen. We allow our fucking people to, we get B players to go into politics. Come on. We allow C players be teachers. That's what happened. Like, okay. All right.
So while we've been talking about this, Robbie Anderson tweeted out, egos and arrogance are detrimental.
Oh, he's watching the show.
I was gonna say he's got to be watching the show.
What does
gotta
that even fucking mean?
I don't know. Get the translator out.
That's like, actually, he did not write this. His fucking agent wrote this. First of all, there are no random capitalizations. There are no random common nouns that have been capitalized.
He double checked.
He did not write this tweet. He did not write this tweet.
No, he was trying to talk about, he's saying egos and fragrance.
Aragorn. Egos and Aragorn.
He didn't write.
He's got to be watching the
He
show.
did not fucking write this tweet. All right, my ice up pick goes to the East Carolina Panthers at heart. This is bittersweet. I said the East Carolina Panthers. Ooh, I gotta go to bed. The East Carolina Pirates, my alma mater. Bittersweet, tough week and awesome week for Pirate fans. The ECU baseball team, we have a very good baseball team that each year is very, very competitive for our school size and things like this. I mean, they are always on the cusp. They never make the College World Series. But we've hosted regionals. We've hosted super regionals. We're always good. And any year that there's great expectations, they kind of get dashed. So we had a year. Last year, we went deep. We almost made it. This year, we're bringing back. We're youth. We got like a combination of great things. This is our year. There was so much hype. Our number one ace gets popped for some PED test or something like this. He says he took something from a vitamin store and this and that. But we lost Carson Wisenhunt for a whole year, and he's going to be drafted. Like he's an ace. Like he's what we actually needed this year. Yeah. The Pirates started out poorly, like really bad. Like it was non-conference though. They went like 14-14, and like in college baseball, you got to be dominant. You got to be fucking dominant to just. So it looked early on like we were gonna suck, and all of a sudden, after the first month of play, the Pirates just fucking scrapped and just did it and went hot. They became the hottest team in America. They won 20 games in a row.
Wow.
20 straight games. Like they were fucking beating that ass to the point where it was kind of like when you're in the March Madness and you're a lower seed and you're just hot and you're like all of a sudden you're in the Final Four. Mm-hmm. We get Texas. Texas has been to the College World Series like 37 times. We've never been, you know what I'm saying? They are the power. They're a powerhouse. Right. We are the underdog who have beaten two teams on the way there. All of a sudden, we're the underdog who has been playing at home too. We got the home crowd. 5,000-6,000 people coming out to a baseball field. This shit is hype as fuck. So hype. It was great. It's such a great atmosphere. The Pirates win the first game against Texas, the Longhorns. And then in the so it's a double elimination. It's a double elimination thing. So you have to lose 2 games. And the Pirates had already lost one, but we won the first game. We were up 7-2. Yeah, so it's double elimination. So we won the first game against the big dog. Second game, we're up 7. They go up 2-1 in like the second inning, and we roll off 5 runs. It's 7-2 in the 7th, and we lose the game. Oh. So you get one more chance. One more fucking chance. And the Longhorns beat them 11-1. And it is David and Goliath type thing a little bit. But here's the lesson. Here's the ice up. I guess it's bittersweet. The Pirates had such a fucking incredible season for them. It was like a weird, awesome season and great for the fans. But lesson here is 7-2. You got to close the door. The coach said it. He said, we had our chance. It wasn't this last game. It was the game before. We let it slip through our hands. Mm-hmm. So you got to win. You got to win. And we could have been there. We could have been to the College World Series. And be honest, man, Texas is probably a better overall team than us. But we were hot. We were doing it. Just sucks, man. Close the door. Shut the door. Shut a door. Shut a door. Close a window. Whatever you want to do. Seize the moment. So I hate to say it, man. I'm proud of them. They had a great season. But ice up to that, letting it slip through your fingers. That's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. I do it with Cody Lashney. My wheel man, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at CodyLac, CodyLac. If you're watching and you would like to join the C3 Panthers podcast, well, Friday is your opportunity to do so. Every Friday at 7 p.m., you can join the Friday free-for-all. Man, we have a bunch of people in the chat here that always show up, like my man Kenneth, Panther Pickle, Drew was in here tonight, Kevin, everyone, man. It's a good time. So I post the link to the StreamYard so anyone can come in and join, hang out, talk to me, tell me I don't know shit about football, tell me that guy, I stole his dance moves or whatever the fuck. And yeah, that's it, man.
Hakeem Sills says, he said, master debater, I'm weak. My other good joke is, and I've rolled with this one for 2 years straight during COVID, is no mask debating. I don't want to mask debate in public. CK, where can they find your work?
You can find me on any social media network, Codizzle Allen, the Twitter, the TikToks, all that all that stuff. And mainly Twitter, I think now is my my main squeeze. But just come stop by, say hey, what's up.
Greg?
You can find me at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. It's my only form of social media. Check out Geeks Chasing Squirrels Across the Multiverse, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube on Friday nights. After you get the Friday Free for All roll in there, it's pretty fun. We talk everything Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC, anything streaming, any kind of movies, comics, all that good stuff. It's a fun time.
Cody, fuck vulgarity and take us out of here.
All right. Until next time, Panther faithful, keep pounding.
Pounding.